Hello and welcome guys. Make yourselves comfortable and enjoy. Don't forget to go and support the original author. He put a lot of effort into this. Well, let's continue now. This is Necromancer of the Shadows, chapter 276. Are you sure? They are 4B rank monsters, Sophie asked Evan while moving towards the group of wolves. Even though she thought Evan is not normal since he was able to join the B rank zone with his current rank, she can't help but feel uneasy thinking he wants to face Wolfpack alone. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Since we will be working together, I better show you what I can do so that we will be able to fight against Monster Tide properly, Evan said while stopping around 100 meters away from the wolves. You guys just stay here and watch the show, Evan said, and moved forward alone. Muck tried to secretly follow him but was stopped by Sophie. Muck showed a dejected expression because his chance of showing how excellent his guarding skills are ruined by Sophie. David looked at everything like he is watching a movie. On the other hand, Caleb's gaze was focused on Evan. For some reason, he was feeling strange, and in his eyes, Evan looks quite manly facing 4B rank wolves alone. Evan felt a hot gaze from behind his back, and even without turning back he knew whom that gaze belonged to, but he decided to ignore it for the time being. When the group of 4 wolves saw Evan was coming towards them, they growled at him. All 4 wolves were 2 meters long and 1 meter high. They were covered in thick green fur, and their mouth was filled with sharp teeth. Saliva was dripping down from their mouth, and they were looking at Evan like they are looking at a piece of delicious meat. But they did not attack on him immediately, because they can see Sophie and others not far away from their location, so they waited for Evan to come towards them. Evan also understood what wolves were thinking, but he was too lazy to waste his time with them. While walking towards them, he pointed one of his fingers in their direction and shot a shadow bullet towards one of the wolves. After advancing to C rank, all of his skills received a great boost in power, especially his shadow element related skills. The bullet moved like a beam of black light, and arrived before the wolf who was standing in front of the group in an instant. The wolf was shocked and quickly tried to step aside, but even though it reacted quickly, the bullet still struck it right at the shoulder. Howl! Exclamation point. Blood spurted out as the wolf howled in pain. Seeing what happened, the other 3 wolves were stunned, but they reacted very quickly. Green wind particles circled around them as all 3 of them turned into streaks of green light and shot towards Evan. Temporal velocity. The wolves were very fast because of using wind element, but after activating temporal velocity, Evan was easily able to see them coming towards him. In the eyes of David and others, all 3 wolves arrived before Evan in an instant, and slashed at him with their claws at the same time. Just when they thought he will not be able to dodge the attack, they were stunned to see Evan bent down his body, and jumped away from the gap of their attack, avoiding their attack at the last moment. At the same time, just as he jumped away, his shadow suddenly expanded, and like a gate to another dimension was opened, along with a black-colored fat hippopotamus. A wave of water filled with sharp water blades come out from it, engulfing all 3 wolves who were still in midair. All 3 of the wolves were sent high into the sky, along with the water wave, and the sharp water blades cut down their bodies from all over the places, turning a portion of the water wave red because of their blood. When the water wave disappeared, the bodies of 3 wolves, who were on the brink of death with countless cuts all over their bodies, fall down from the sky. Everything happened so fast that no one was able to understand anything. From the moment the wolves rushed towards Evan to the present time, only 5 seconds passed by, but the 3 wolves who rushed towards him were already done for. The eyes of Sophie and others were wide open, and they were wondering from where this freaking fat hippo came from. Evan wasn't surprised after seeing the condition of the 3 wolves. Aqua was at the B+ rank, while the 3 wolves were at B rank. Moreover, they were not prepared for the surprise attack of Aqua, and were hit by one of his strongest attack, so in his eyes, it is completely natural for those 3 wolves to be seriously injured after taking that attack head-on. The legs of the first wolf, who stayed behind because of Evan's shadow bullet, were shaking after seeing how easily 3 members of its group were seriously injured, and were on the brink of death. Aqua turned its head and looked at it. When the wolf saw Aqua was looking at it, it wanted to run away, but before it can run away, a green sword light flashed before its eyes, and its vision was engulfed by darkness. Evan looked at the headless body of the wolf, while holding the Wind Fury sword. Finish them, Evan said without looking back. Hearing Evan, Aqua opened its mouth and a pressurized cannon of water shot toward the 3 wolves, who were laying on the ground seriously injured. When the cannon of water hit them, the bodies of the wolves were set flying, and their life force completely disappeared. "Come back," Evan said, and Aqua disappeared into his shadow once again. After unsummoning Aqua, Evan looked at Sophie and the others, and saw their mouths were still wide open. "I hope this little show was enough to give you a rough idea about my strength." Chapter 277. I am finally out, Alistria shouted while looking at the sky. "Nevin kids, they are still 1,000 years young if they want to stop me." "Ha, Alistria said, while placing her hands on her waist, and laughing like an arrogant kid who just fooled her parents. After seeing some of the memories that she received from one of her essence clones, she wanted to go to the Gehenna Empire, the empire ruled by Baphomet, to get answers of some of her questions. But just when she was trying to use the teleporter to go there, some of the high-ranking officials of her empire insists on going with her. Their reason for going with her, it was not because they wanted to discuss something with officials of the Gehenna Empire. It was because they knew their queen is like a troublesome child who likes to cause problems. They were afraid that if they let her go there alone, she might start a war with Gehenna Empire for some silly reasons. But Alistria was reluctant to bring them with her because she wasn't sure what will happen there. Considering the answers she wanted, she knew there is a possibility she will have to give some beating to Baphomet before he tell her everything. If she goes there alone, she has enough confidence in keeping herself safe. But if she brings them with her, she wasn't sure about keeping them safe if something bad were to happen. Even though her officials are not weak and are very powerful, they are still going into Baphomet's territory. It will be very difficult for them to escape from there if Baphomet decides to use the full force of his army. Alistria told them she is going there just for a talk, but they didn't listen to her, and were firm on their decision to go with her. They wanted to go with her because of what happened last time when she went out alone. Last time, after saying she is going for a walk, she went to Blood Moon Empire, the empire ruled by Alistair Nightfall, also known as Blood Monarch. After going there, she beat down some high-ranking vampires in the name of sparring. She completely abused their regeneration and beat them down again and again, until they were completely broken. Even though it is an incident from 10 years ago, all of those vampires are still suffering from trauma. After this incident, Alistair Nightfall was so angry that he almost started a war with elves. Now she is saying she is going to talk with Baphomet. They will be idiots if they believe on her. They don't want her to start a war with demons. Seeing how firm her officials were, Alistria decided to delay her trip and go to Gehenna Empire secretly. After more than 20 days, she is finally able to sneak out, and now is going to Gehenna Empire. After flying for some time, Alistria landed in a secluded area near a mountain. The area was completely isolated, and no one knew about this place other than Alistria. There was a cave at the center of the mountain where she just landed. Those little ones are still guarding the teleportation formation, but they don't know their queen is a lot smarter than them, and already prepared a backup formation just in case, Alistria said while smiling, and entered the cave. Just as she entered the cave, a formation appeared on the ground, and a burst of silver light flashed from the formation, covering her entire body. Alistria stood there and let the silver light scan her body. It was the safety formation that she created in case someone other than her entered the cave. If someone other than her enters the cave, he will be teleported out from here, and the entrance of the cave will be sealed. After 5 seconds, the formation on the ground disappeared, and the entire cave lit up. When the cave lit up, a perfectly decorated place that looks like a VIP room appeared before Alistria. Alistria moved deeper area of the cave and came before a small room. After coming before the room, she infused some of her mana into its closed door. Just as she infused her mana, the closed door of the room opened, and a teleportation circle came into her view. Using this teleportation circle, she can directly go to the capital of the Gehenna Empire, where Baphomet usually stays. Very few peoples have a privilege like this where they can directly teleport into the capital of another empire, and Alistria is defiantly one of them. Of course, there are still some restrictions, like she can't bring more than 3 people with her using this teleporter. This restriction was placed so that she can't use this formation to send her army to another nation. Alistria stood at the center of the formation as a bright smile appeared on her face. After talking with Baphomet, I should go out for a walk. It is been around 10 years since I last went out for a walk. Alistria muttered as the teleportation circle activated. I should go to Dragon Nation and play with those prideful bastards. The circle activated and a bright white light covered the entire room. When the light faded away, Alistria disappeared from the room. In the capital city of the Gehenna Empire, Baphomet was sitting in his throne room, while Zagarnath was reporting to him about the progress of the seal-breaking process of the Shadow Realm. According to the report he received, Malphaser is doing a great job, and it won't take long before the seal on the Shadow Realm will be broken. While listening to the report from Zagarnath, Baphomet suddenly felt some energy fluctuations coming from the special teleportation room of the castle. Who is stupid enough to teleport here without my permission? A cold light passed through in Baphomet's eyes as he focused his senses on the teleportation room. But his face can't help but stiffen when he saw who is the person who teleported here. Seeing this person, only one thought came into Baphomet's mind. Trouble is here. Chapter 278. Why is this troublesome woman is here? Baphomet shouted inside his mind, feeling his head started ache just after seeing her. Master, is there a problem? Zagarnath asked when he saw Baphomet suddenly looks troubled. That maniac woman is here, Baphomet said while rubbing his temples. He can deal with anyone, but whenever it comes to Alistria he is completely helpless. That woman is just a complete maniac who loves to cause trouble for people. He heard about so many incidents that Alistria caused that sometimes he wonder if she is a female devil in disguise of an elf. Hearing that woman is here, Zagarnath instantly understood his master is talking about the Elf Queen. She is in the teleportation room. Go and lead her here, Baphomet said while waving his hands. Zagarnath nodded his head after hearing Baphomet, and quickly left the room. We are very close to breaking the seal on the Shadow Realm. Why is this troublesome woman is here at this time? Baphomet muttered inside. 5 minutes later, the door of the throne room was blasted open. It's been a while, little Baffy. Black lines appeared on Baphomet's face after hearing what Alistria called him, but he held himself back and looked at the beautiful elf, who was smiling at him like they are best friends. Zagarnath was walking behind her, and for some reason, it was looking like he aged 10 years in the 5 minutes he spent with Alistria. Why are you here, Alistria? Ara, I am your guest, and you are not even asking for water of life or anything, Alistria said, completely ignoring Baphomet's question and sitting down on one of the chairs. We don't have water of life. Do you want some demonic dew? Baphomet asked, not surprised by the bizarre behavior of Alistria. Demonic dew. Is it better than mountain dew? Alistria asked with shining eyes. It depends on your taste buds. Oh, then I don't want it, Alistria said while shaking her head. The name demonic dew doesn't sound appealing to her. After Alistria rejected demonic dew, the room fell into silence. Even though they were just looking at each other normally, Zagarnath can feel an oppressive aura coming out from both of them. I shouldn't have entered the room after bringing this woman here, Zagarnath said while crying inwardly. So why are you here? After Alistria didn't speak anything, Baphomet asked once again. If I say I just come here to see you, will you believe me? Alistria said while smiling a little. I don't think we are close enough that you will come to see me for no reason. So just say it already. Why are you here? Baphomet said in a slightly colder tone. Well, you are right. We are not close enough that I will visit you for no reason. I come here because I want to know something, Alistria said while taking out a straw and juice carton. She poked the straw into the carton and started to drink it. Then, seemingly remembering about Baphomet, she looked at him, and while signaling asked if he also wants one. Baphomet's eyes were twitching violently, and he wanted nothing more than to throw out Alistria from his empire. But remembering her personality, he took a deep breath and shook his head. Seeing he doesn't want a juice carton, Alistria shrugged her shoulders and took a big sip of juice through the straw. Are you sending your essence clones into different lower worlds? Suddenly Alistria asked in a casual tone while still sipping the juice. Baphomet raised an eyebrow when he heard Alistria. He didn't tell anyone about this matter, so he was wondering how did she find out about it. But it is not something new, and many people try to send their essence clones into lower worlds, so Baphomet didn't deny it, and nodded his head. Do you have a problem with it? Why would I have a problem with it? Alistria said while resting her head on her palm. I am just surprised you were able to pass the restrictions of the world. You should be the last person to be surprised by this, Baphomet said, and a dark red energy gathered at the palm of his hand. Just as the energy appeared around his palm, the space around it started to shake. The concept of my demonic energy is destruction. It is the complete opposite of your natural energy. With the help of it, destroying some of the restrictions is child's play for me, Baphomet said, and the energy around his palm disappeared. After the energy around his palm disappeared, Baphomet once again looked at Illustria. I don't know what you are trying to do by asking these questions, but it will be good if you get straight to the point. I don't have time to talk to you for all day. Illustria looked at Baphomet for some time without speaking. After a minute, she opened her mouth and asked a simple question. Why? Why are you sending your essence clones to different worlds? In the memories of her essence clone, she saw it fighting against 3 monsters who were looking like shadow undeads. Coincidentally, Baphomet also sent his essence clone into that world a few years ago. She wanted to confirm if he knew about those monsters, or if he is related to them somehow. Hearing Illustria's question, Baphomet was confused. Even though she acts like a child, he knew she is very smart, and considering her mind, he is sure she can already guess why he is sending his essence clones to different worlds. But looking at her serious face, he knew she is not trying to waste his time, and really wanted to know the answer of this question. If I can send her away just by answering this question, I don't think it is a bad deal, Baphomet thought while looking at Illustria. Besides, I am sure she already knew the reason, but it looks like she wants to confirm something. Chapter 279. There is no special reason for me to send my essence clones to different worlds. Like everyone else, I just want to increase the potential of my army by influencing some talented people of the lower worlds to evolve into demons during their ascension, Baphomet said while showing a calm smile, and continued, since there is no one other than me who can pass through the restrictions of the world, it will be a waste for me to not take advantage of this opportunity. Hearing Baphomet, Illustria looked at him with narrowed eyes. Is this the only reason? What other reasons can I have other than this? It is not like there are precious treasures in the lower worlds, right? Baphomet said while shrugging his shoulders. Hearing Baphomet, Illustria fell deep into thought. Before she saw those 3 monsters who looks like shadow undeads, she also guessed that he is sending his clones to lower worlds to influence people into evolving demons. But after seeing those 3 monsters, she can't help but get suspicious that he is related to those 3 monsters, which is why she came here to ask him personally. But now that Baphomet's saying he is sending his clones just to increase the number of his army, Illustria knew he is telling the truth. The reason she knew he is telling the truth is because in this world no one can lie in front of her. Even if someone is lying, she can tell it with just a single look because of one of her skills. No one knew Illustria have a skill called Eye of Truth. Because of this skill, she can tell if someone is saying the truth or not with just a single glance. And when Baphomet was speaking earlier, she was using this skill all the time to see if he is saying the truth or not. Surprisingly, Baphomet didn't lie earlier, and he just want to increase the potential of his army by bringing the talented people of the lower worlds here. Does it mean he has nothing to do with those 3 monsters who were the same as shadow undeads? Illustria thought with furrowed eyebrows. She is really here to confirm something, Baphomet thought while narrowing his eyes when he saw her deep in thought. He was genuinely curious about what Illustria wanted to confirm by knowing what he is doing with his clones. Even after thinking for 1 whole minute, Illustria wasn't able to reach at any conclusion. In the end, she looked at Baphomet once again and asked another question. Are you doing anything that is related to Shadow Monarch? Hearing Illustria, Baphomet was shocked from the inside, but his expression didn't change outwards. What do you mean? Baphomet asked, thinking Illustria knew about the Shadow Realm. Even though his expression didn't change, with her Eye of Truth, Illustria was still able to see his unstable emotions after hearing her earlier question. He is really doing something that is related to Shadow Monarch, Illustria thought after seeing his unstable emotions. But even though he is doing something, I don't think it is related to those 3 monsters I saw in my essence clone memories, or the lower worlds he is sending his clones. If I am not wrong, he is sending his clones to lower worlds to increase the potential of his army, while looking for something related to Shadow Monarch here in the upper world. Countless thoughts passed through in Illustria's mind in less than a second, and she organized all the information she has. Lyrith did inform me Baphomet sent Malphasis somewhere on a secret mission. Could it be related to Shadow Monarch? She thought and looked back at Baphomet, who was looking at her with a confused face, but his emotions were still unstable. Whatever, it is not like he is the only one looking for things related to that bastard. After all, no one even knows how he died back then. Alistria thought when some unpleasant memories of the past came into her mind. Nothing. Since you answered my question, I will be taking my leave now, Alistria said and stood up. Baphomet was stunned for a moment, but then he sighed in relief, thinking she doesn't know he has the location of the Shadow Realm. Alistria didn't ask anything further because she doesn't really care about what he is looking for. She came here to confirm if he has anything to do with those 3 monsters who were looking like shadow undeads. And now that she confirmed he is not related to them, she is too lazy to meddle in his business. Instead of roasting her brain here, she might as well go to the dragon tribe and play with those prideful lizards. Oh right, suddenly Astria stopped and looked back at Baphomet. Since you answered all of my questions, let me give you an advice. Baphomet did not say anything and just looked at her, waiting for her to continue. I know you are doing something that is related to Shadow Monarch. Baphomet's eyes narrowed when he heard Astria. Now don't look at me like this. I honestly don't care what you are doing, but I advise you to stop doing everything that is related to Shadow Monarch. Even though that guy is already dead, his death was very mysterious. No one knows what happened at that time, so if you don't want to encounter a hidden danger, just stop doing whatever you are trying to do, Astria said while looking at Baphomet seriously. Hearing Astria, Baphomet thought about the abnormality of the Shadow Realm that happened a few days ago. But he still doesn't understand why Astria wanted him to stop doing everything related to the Shadow Monarch. As far as he knew, she doesn't really care about other people, so he was really curious why she was giving him this advice. Is there a special reason you are giving me this advice? Hearing Baphomet, Astria looked at him for some time without saying anything. Just when Baphomet was thinking she is not going to answer, Alistria opened her mouth and said, I just don't want to see an incident similar to Eternal Night once again. Hearing Alistria, Baphomet's body trembled as he remembered the details of the most notorious event in history. Chapter 280. Eternal Night is the most notorious event in history, and the person responsible for this event was the Shadow Monarch. Frozen Monarchy is the name of the empire that Winterclaw rules over. There are many countries under the rule of Frozen Monarchy. Every single country under Frozen Monarchy is ruled by a different race, and the rulers of these races are the subordinates of Winterclaw. Nictopia used to be one of the countries under the rule of the Frozen Monarchy, and also the place where Frost Wraiths used to live. Nictopia was one of the strongest countries under the Frozen Monarchy, because Frost Wraiths were stronger than the average races of the world. But all of this is a thing of the past because, in the current time, there is not even a single Frost Wraith who is alive. The entire race of Frost Wraiths is already extinct, and the reason for this is the Shadow Monarch. No one knows the reason, but one day Shadow Monarch came to Nictopia, and using one of his skills locked down the entire country, so that no one can escape from there. After he locked down the entire country, that day the most notorious event in history took place. No one knows what Frost Wraith did to anger the Shadow Monarch like this, but that day the entire race of Frost Wraiths was slaughtered single-handedly by the Shadow Monarch. More than 50 million Frost Wraiths were living in the Nictopia, but not a single one of them survived. The entire world was shocked by this incident because this was the first time something like that happened in the history of the world, where an entire race was slaughtered by a single person. This was also the incident that revealed the true power of the Shadow Monarch. Before this incident, everyone used to think that the Shadow Monarch is the weakest among the 5 monarchs, because unlike them he had no empire where he rules over, and he always kept a low profile, not meeting with anyone. Unlike other monarchs who showed their powers on many occasions, the Shadow Monarch never showed his power before this incident. People even started to suspect that Shadow Monarch doesn't even have a single skill, because no one ever saw him using a skill. But on the day when he attacked Nictopia, entire world was shocked. It was naturally a big incident because the Shadow Monarch was attacking on a country for the first time, so it attracted the attention of all the powerhouses from all over the world, including the other 4 monarchs. When they heard about it, they all went to see what was happening there. At first, they did not expect much. After all, from what they knew, Shadow Monarch attacked the entire country alone. Even other monarchs thought that he is doing all this just to get some attention, because even they were not confident in attacking an entire country alone and destroying it. But when they reached there and saw what was happening in Nictopia, which was covered in a black veil, the soul of every person who came there shuddered because of fear. Even Ilistria and other monarchs were shocked after arriving there. They expected to see Shadow Monarch fighting a bitter fight against the army of Frost Wraiths. But what they saw was a massacre. A cruel massacre where Frost Wraiths were being eaten alive by black monsters who looks the same as the Frost Wraiths. What was even more shocking was the fact that those black Frost Wraiths were attacking without any concern for their safety. They were ignoring all the attacks of Frost Wraiths, and were eating them alive. And like this was not enough, as soon as any Frost Wraith dies, a black Frost Wraith will emerge from its half-eaten body, and will start to attack on other Frost Wraiths. After receiving the news Shadow Monarch is attacking Nictopia, Winterclaw went there to watch the show, where his subordinates will rappel away the Shadow Monarch. After all, even he is not confident enough to fight against the entire race alone. But when he saw the cruel massacre where his subordinates were being eaten alive, he was so angry that he directly passed through the veil. The Shadow Monarch put on Nictopia to stop him. Winterclaw tried his best to stop him, but in the end he was also beaten by the Shadow Monarch, and was gravely injured. After injuring Winterclaw, Shadow Monarch didn't stop, and in just a single night the entire country of Nictopia turned into the land of the dead. At the end of the massacre, all the Frost Wraiths were killed, and the entire country was filled with millions of black monsters, who were kneeling before the Shadow Monarch. It was the day when the entire world saw the true power of the Shadow Monarch. But what shocked them to their core was the final thing that he did before leaving. Looking at the millions of black Frost Wraiths who were kneeling before him, he didn't show any emotions, and just spoke 3 words. Eternal soul annihilation. For some reason when people heard those words, they felt a chill run down their spine, and the next second millions of monsters kneeling before the Shadow Monarch started to cry out in agony. When people saw those monsters withering in agony, their eyes trembled because of fear. Everyone who was present there was a powerhouse, so they immediately understood what was happening. After the Shadow Monarch said those 3 words, the souls of those black monsters were being annihilated. But the most horrifying thing was that, after their soul was completely destroyed, a strange power would reconstruct their soul, and then their soul would be annihilated once again. It was a never-ending cycle of pain where their soul was being annihilated again and again. After saying those 3 words, Shadow Monarch left from there without looking at the people who were gathered there. But even after he left, those black monsters continued to suffer. No one tried to do anything to stop it, including the monarchs, because they were afraid Shadow Monarch might do the same thing with their people. The torment cycle of the black monsters lasted for a long time, and only ended when the Shadow Monarch died in future because of unknown reasons. Even though Ilistria was just giving a reminder to Baphomet, she still can't help but shudder, remembering how those black monsters were tormented for a long time. Even though he was not born at that time, Baphomet also heard about the incident of Eternal Night. He was not sure if what he read in history is real or not, but he did not take Ilistria's advice lightly, and nodded his head. "I will keep it in mind," he said to Ilistria, who left from there flying straight towards the dragon tribe. Chapter 281. Monster Tide should be here in around 4 hours. "Should we activate the formations now?" a man who looks in his mid-40s asked. The man had long white hair and black eyes, his eyebrows were furrowed a little, and he was looking at the distance with a solemn face. The man was hovering in mid-air, and there was an invisible pressure around his body that make people restless if they look at him for a long time. The man's name was Damien, and he was the guildmaster of the White Shark Guild, which is the platinum rank guild of the Naflium city. And just like Sebastian, he is also an S-rank hunter. "Let's wait for 1 more hour before we activate the formations." Beside Damien, a tall woman with a big chest and slender waist was hovering. Even though her face was average, her figure was even better than supermodels because of her training. The woman's name was Amanda, and she was the principal of the Clear Sky Academy. And just like Damien, she was also an S-rank hunter. "Did you arrange everything in the city?" Amanda asked Damien. "Don't worry. I asked Ron to not come here and stay in the city. He will take action as soon as Dark Guild will start their attack, Damien said while nodding his head. Ron is also an S-rank hunter who is a member of the White Shark Guild. Previously he was supposed to support the defense line here, but after receiving the information from Sebastian, Damien asked him to stay in the city, so that they will be able to stop the attack as soon as possible. I wonder from where that guy is getting all this information. Just a few days ago he informed all of us about the cause of dungeon outbreaks, and now this. Did his guy plant a spy in the Dark Guild? Amanda said while rubbing her chin. Who cares from where he got this information from? As long as it can help us, I don't care about it, Damien said, not thinking about the source of the information. Soon 1 hour passed by. Let's activate the formations, Amanda said, and contacted the operator of the formations through her bracelet. In order to keep formations safe, the authorities of Naflium City made a large network of arrays. Through these arrays, the cores of all the formations were shifted near the city gate. Even though the cores of the formations are very far away from the place where the formations are installed, they can still receive energy through the network of arrays they created. They shifted the cores near the city gate, so that they will not be destroyed during their fight against the monster tide. After contacting the operator, Amanda and Damien waited for a few seconds. Soon they saw the formation of the S-rank zone was activated. On the ground below Damien and Amanda, a golden-colored horizontal line which was thousands of meters long lit up, and a golden-colored illusionary wall started to rise up from that line. Just like the horizontal line, the illusionary wall was also thousands of meters long, and was looking like the city wall that is covering the entire Naflium city. When the wall rose 30 meters, the top of the wall started to solidify. In just 3 seconds the top of the illusionary wall was completely solidified, and Damien and Amanda landed on it. Even though the top of the wall was solidified, the wall from below was still illusionary. Check if it is working or not, Amanda said to Damien, who jumped down from the top of the wall and landed on the ground. After coming down he first took off his bracelet and put it away in his storage ring. After putting away the bracelet he tried to walk past the wall which was looking illusionary, but when he touched the wall, he was pushed back and wasn't able to pass through it. This is the formation of the S-rank zone. Only monsters who are below A+ rank can pass through it. After confirming the formation was working, Damien wore his bracelet again and tried to pass through the illusionary wall. This time just as he touched the wall a beep sound came from his bracelet, and he was able to pass through it. Seeing he was able to pass through after wearing the bracelet, Damien nodded his hand and flew up. The formation is working fine, he said to Amanda while landing beside her. All of you take your position, Amanda shouted in a loud voice looking at the hunters who were stationed in that area. There were around 50 A+ rank hunters in that area, and all of them had a solemn expression on their faces. Other than A+ rank there were also many A rank hunters present there, but there was no one below A rank in that area. During Monster Tide, it will be fighting area of S and A+ rank monsters, so it was useless to station hunters who are below A rank here. Hearing Amanda, all the hunters present there took their positions and waited for the monster tide. Rumble dash. After around 3 hours the ground suddenly started to shake. It is here, Damien said while looking in front of him. All the monsters present there can feel the auras of thousands of monsters, and there was no shortage of A and A+ rank monsters among them. The aura of S rank monster is quite strong, Amanda said while clutching her sword tightly. Just after feeling the aura of Hell Ape, she can tell that it is not a normal S rank monster. Damien also nodded his head after hearing Amanda because he can also feel the powerful aura of the Hell Ape. But suddenly the ground stopped shaking like the monster tide which was coming towards them stopped. Amanda and Damien raised an eyebrow and looked at each other, wondering what is happening. But the next second, the expressions of both of them changed as they felt a very strong fluctuation of mana coming from the far distance. Chapter 282. Evan looked at the rising illusionary golden wall with an awe-filled look. So this is one of the formations that is absorbing the energy of thousands of cores. Just like other formations, the wall created by this formation was also 30 meters high. The top of the wall was solid, while the rest of the wall was illusionary. The top of the wall was solid, so that the hunters who had classes like mage and archers can attack on monsters from there. No one in our team is a coward who needs to stand at the top of the wall to save his A*S from the monsters. We are going to smash all the monsters in a head-on fight. Mark said, while smashing his large shield on the ground. The Guardian, who is actually a swordsman, was ready to fight. Evan and Sophie ignored what Mark said and looked around them. Soon hunters with long-range attacks, healers and the ones with support classes, started to take their positions on the wall. Caleb was looking around with a strange glint in his eyes. He was looking at hunters with handsome faces, and was nodding his head from time to time. David, on the other hand, was looking at the top of the wall, thinking he should also go there, because people will be able to see his celebrity figure clearly if he stand at the top of the wall. All in all, they were in a complete mess. But Evan was not bothered by this because even though they all are somewhat different, he knew they are pretty good when it comes to fighting. In the last 40 hours, they patrolled around the camp 2 times, and Evan was able to see that their teamwork is quite good. Monster Tide should be here in around 3 hours, Sophie said, while looking at the hunters who were gathering. Evan nodded his head after hearing her. Earlier he called Valerie to ask about the situation of the city, but she wasn't clear about it. According to her, her father already informed the authorities about the attack. Now it is up to them how they will handle it. Well, let's hope they took proper measures to stop the attack, Evan muttered while using shadow sensors. He already released Necros, Elijah and Eclipse to go far away from his position and hide somewhere before the Monster Tide arrive. He ordered them to mix themselves up in Monster Tide when it arrives and kill the monsters sneakily and collect their calls. When he used shadow sensors, he saw Elijah and Necros were in the middle of the B-rank zone near a cave. They were sitting outside the cave and were playing cards. Evan was speechless when he saw them playing cards. Is there a card selling shop in the wildernesses? He can't help but think because he doesn't know from where they got the cards. The view of a 5 meters tall one-eyed monster playing cards with a small elf was very strange in his eyes. Forget it. It is good they are having fun, Evan thought and ignored them. He tried to focus on Eclipse, and soon his vision changed once again. Unlike Elijah and Necros, he gave Eclipse a different mission. Since Eclipse is good in stealth, he asked it to go in the front line in the S-rank zone. He wanted to keep an eye on the front line where the most dangerous battle will take place. Even though hunters made sufficient preparations, he has to be prepared for any kind of situation. If he doesn't send Eclipse there, he won't be able to get the information about the front line. What if the S-rank monster somehow destroys the formation and comes here? He sent Eccles up there so that he can get real-time updates on the Monster Tide. If he saw the front line can't stop the powerful monsters, he will use Shadow Wings and will run away from here. It is not that he is a coward or anything, but it will be meaningless for him to fight here once the front line is broken. He is strong, but it is not like he can fight against the monsters who are A and A+ rank, and will come here once the front line is broken. He released Eclipse a few hours ago, and since it has endless stamina, it already reached the front line zone, and was currently hiding at the top of one of the trees. Even though Eclipse is just a B-rank monster, its stealth skills are pretty good, so no one was able to notice it. The tree it was hiding on was around 5 kilometers away from the formation of the S-rank zone. Eclipse's vision was quite sharp, and even though it was 5 kilometers away from the formation, Evan was still able to clearly see what was happening on the front line through its vision. Those two should be S-rank hunters, Evan thought when he saw Amanda and Damien hovering high in the sky, while the other hunters were looking in front of them with solemn expressions. Let's hope nothing goes wrong, Evan thought and stopped using his share sensors skill. Soon all the hunters, including Evan and his team, also took their positions in the B-rank zone. An A-rank hunter was hovering above them to keep everything in check. Just like this, 3 hours passed by. Suddenly all the hunters felt something and looked in the far distance. It is here, Sophie said softly while taking a deep breath. Even though the Monster Tide is still hundreds of kilometers away from them, and just reached the front line, all of them can feel a strong bloodlust from far distance. This feeling is completely different from what I felt while fighting against Thornbloom's in Verdant Wilds dungeon, Evan thought when he felt the powerful auras of thousands of monsters. Normally, it would have been very hard to feel the aura of monsters from such a long distance. But because of the large numbers of the monsters, all of them were able to feel their auras from such a long distance. Let's see what is happening there, Evan thought and used shadow sensors to connect with Eclipse. Just as he connected with Eclipse, Evan saw the sky in front line suddenly turn dark, and even before he can understand what was happening, he lost his connection with Eclipse. Chapter 283. The monster tide moved towards the front line unhindered by the trees, mountains, or any other obstacles that came in their path. Hell Ape was moving at the rear end of the army, while looking in the distance with its sharp eyes. The man who was sitting on his shoulders a few days ago already left his side, since he won't be taking part in the attack. But Hell Ape didn't care about him because it doesn't matter to it whether that man help it or not. After all, it has enough confidence in its own strength. When they were just 5 minutes away from the front line, an invisible pressure came out from the Hell Ape's body, pressing down on the marching monster army. Feeling the terrifying pressure, all the monsters marching forward, including A+ rank monsters, stopped moving and lowered their heads. When the monster army stopped, the pressure coming out from Hell Ape's body also disappeared, making all the monsters sigh in relief. The man who was with the Hell Ape already told it about the formations that hunters created to stop it. It knew that if it wanted to accomplish its goal, it will have to do something big from the start. Even if it can't break the formation, it wanted to first reduce the numbers and the morals of the high-rank hunters who are standing in the front line. Even though it wanted to reduce their number, the task is not easy. After all, it can clearly feel the auras of 2S rank hunters from there. Yes, it is not an easy task to reduce their numbers and morals, but that is what the Hell Ape liked about this task. The Hell Ape is at the peak of S rank, a monster who is alive for more than 200 years. It is someone who can be considered one of the rulers of the wilderness, and the army of thousands of monsters under its command is proof of its undeniable might. So what if you are hiding behind those formations? In front of absolute power, everything is meaningless. The Hell Ape muttered as its deep yellow eyes suddenly shined with black luster. A large amount of mana burst forth from its body, and it looked towards the front line from where it can feel the auras of hunters. Suddenly its body started to burn with black flames, and it used one of its most powerful skills that it refined over the past 200 years. Unique skill Hell Flame Eruption. When Hell Ape activated the skill, Amanda and Damien felt a very powerful fluctuation of mana run behind the formation wall. Feeling powerful mana fluctuation, Amanda and Damien shouted at the same time with panicked expressions on their faces. Their aura burst forth, pushing hunters who were near them behind the wall. At the same time, all the hunters who were far away from them also tried to move behind the formation wall. The front line immediately fell into chaos because of the sudden warning. All the hunters present there were at least A rank, so all of them can also feel the powerful mana fluctuations from afar. But the Hell Ape already used its skill, and before all of them can move behind the formation wall, a tsunami of black flames, which was 30 meters high and 50 kilometers wide, rushed towards them. At the same time, the sky turned dark, and 5 huge black volcanoes appeared in the sky. The diameter of each of the volcanoes was 10 kilometers, and they were also covering 50 kilometers of area in total. *T. Both Damien and Amanda cursed at the same time, and rushed forward to stop that tsunami of hell flames, to buy some time for the hunters who were backing away. Never in their dream, they thought that the Hell Ape will use such a powerful skill even before the fight began, and were caught completely off guard. This kind of skill can be considered a trump card for anyone, and can save their life in a crucial moment, but the Hell Ape used it even before the start of the fight. The sword in Amanda's hand shined with star-like light, and soon her body was covered in a sharp sword aura. She swung her sword towards the incoming hell flames, sending sharp sword light towards it. A large amount of mana also burst forth from Damien's body, and soon tens of metal golems emerged from the ground, standing in front of the incoming flames. When the hell flame struck the golem, it wasn't able to move forward immediately, but because of its high temperature, all the metal golems were destroyed in just 2 seconds, and it continued to move forward. When his golems were destroyed, he summoned them once again, trying to buy as much time as he can for other hunters. But the tsunami of hell flame was 50 kilometers wide, and Amanda and Damien can only stop a portion of its original size. In other areas, the hell flame already caught up with some hunters who were backing away. They all tried to use their skills to stop the hell flames, but a unique skill of an S-rank monster who refined it for over 200 years is not something they can stop easily. Some A-rank hunters were engulfed by hell flames, and even with their high defense, they were not able to handle the high temperature and turned into ashes immediately. The A+ rank hunters were able to resist the high temperature of flame for some time and retreated behind the wall. Working together, most of the hunters successfully retreated behind the formation wall, but many were gravely injured after escaping. The tsunami of hell flames struck the formation, but wasn't able to break the wall of the formation. But the faces of the hunters didn't ease up, and they continued to retreat, because they saw the volcanoes in the sky started to shake. Damien and Amanda looked up at the volcanoes and felt powerful energy fluctuations coming from them. And the next second, the hell break loose from the sky. Chapter 284. Boom dash boom dash boom dash boom boom. All the 5 volcanoes exploded at the same time, and hell flames came down from the sky, turning the sky completely black. Move behind the formation. Seeing the volcanoes erupting, all the hairs on Damien's body stand up to no end, and he shouted while looking at Amanda. All the hunters who survived that tsunami of the hell flame already moved behind the formation. There was no reason for them to face the volcanoes head-on. With a quick motion, both Amanda and Damien appeared behind the formation wall, but for some reason, they were feeling restless even after coming behind the formation. Even though the formation is set up to stop the S-rank monster and its attack, there is still a chance it might break while facing a powerful attack. They have made preparation in case the formation breaks during the fight, but it will not be a good thing for them if something like this happens. The hell flames came down from the sky and merged with the tsunami of flame. Immediately the power of hell flames skyrocketed, and the temperature in the wilderness reached to an unimaginable degree. Crack! Exclamation point. Amid the disbelief look of hunters, a cracking sound rang out, and the next second tens of cracks appeared on the formation wall. Back off, Damien shouted while backing away. He never expected that the S-rank monster who is leading the monster army had such a powerful skill, and it will use it just after coming here. It was a good thing all the hunters who came behind the formation never stopped retreating after seeing those volcanoes. Crack, crack, cracked. In just a few seconds the entire formation wall was filled with cracks, and with a cracking sound, the wall finally shattered like glass. The hell flames, which were stronger than before, once again rushed forward even faster than before. But this time all the hunters were prepared and were able to back away safely. After breaking the wall of formation, the hell flames moved around 10 more kilometers, burning everything that came into its path. 5 kilometers away from the formation, Eclipse also tried to run away when the formation was broken. But unlike hunters who were at least A rank, it was just a B rank monster. Even before it can reach the safe distance away from the hell flames, they caught up to it, and its body was destroyed, and Evan lost contact with it. Damien and other hunters had ugly expressions as they watched hell flames stop after crossing 10 kilometers mark. Even though no hunter died after the formation wall was broken, they still can't relax, knowing that the formation is broken. The auto-repair function will soon take effect, and the formation will be able to work again. But it will take at least 10 minutes before the formation starts to work again. And looking at the condition of hunters around him, Damien wasn't sure if they can resist the tide for 10 minutes. Around 9 A-rank hunters died because of the unexpected attack of the hell flames. They were not able to retreat behind the formation wall on time, and were killed by hell flames. Many hunters were injured while escaping from the hell flames, and they won't be able to give their 100% during the fight. But the worst thing was the morals of all the hunters were all-time low after seeing what just happened. It was just a single attack, but it shook the entire defensive line. They were now feeling doubtful about whether to fight or retreat now. Soon the volcanoes from the sky and the hell flame disappeared, leaving behind infernal land that was scorched black because of the high temperature. Roar! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. The powerful roar of the hell ape reverted in the area, and the ground started to shake as the monster army once again marched forward. Most of the hunters showed panicked expressions, and were uncertain whether to fight or retreat. Shriek dash. A powerful shriek of a bird sounded, and a monster with red wings and orange body came into their view, flying with a large group of monsters. Just when hunters were panicking, a sharp aura filled the surroundings, and they saw a beam of sword light going towards the flying bird like a shooting star. Poochie dash. Even though the bird was an A+ rank monster, it was not able to react in time before the sword beam struck it, and its head was severed from the rest of its body. Thud dash. Amid the marching monster army, the body of the giant bird fell down from the sky. The hunters turned around to see who killed the monster and saw Amanda, who was looking at them with cold eyes. Her body was covered in a sharp sword aura, and whoever looked at her felt their body being sliced by a sharp sword. "What are you all doing just looking at them like fools?" Amanda said while glaring at them. "Did you forget we are on a battlefield? Stand up and take your position. Those who are seriously injured stand back and get treated by healers." Amanda started to shout out orders, bringing all the hunters back to their senses. Hearing Amanda, the hunters quickly took action. They were afraid that if they continue to show panicked expansion, she will chop off their heads, just like how she killed the monster bird. "Damien, take charge of them," Amanda said to Damien, after seeing the hunters start to take their position. "I already contacted the support base, and they will be here soon. The formation is also being repaired by the auto-repair system, and it should be back to normal in 10 minutes. "I understand, but why are you telling me all of this?" Damien asked with a confused face. "Are you going somewhere?" Hearing Damien, Amanda looked at the approaching army and the sword aura around her intensified. "I am just going to show a certain bastard that it is not the only S-ranker present here who has powerful skills." Saying that, she looked at Damien and smirked. "Watch carefully, because next time when we will fight it won't end as a draw like always." Chapter 285. Amanda flew towards the incoming monster tide and stopped some distance away from them. The sword aura around her was rising continuously, giving whoever looks at her a dangerous feeling. In Monster Tide, there were around 60 A+ rank monsters, around 200 A rank monsters, while the numbers of monsters who were below A rank were in thousands. Seeing the incoming thousands of monsters, Amanda's eyes didn't change. "Aura zone," Amanda muttered, and the sword aura that was gathering around her body burst forth, making a small sword aura zone around her. Aura zone : covers 10 meters area around you in sword aura. While using the aura zone, the power of all of your sword-related skills will be increased by 100. After releasing her aura zone, Amanda pointed her sword towards the sky. "Sword River." Just as the word escaped from her mouth, the sword she was pointing towards the sky started to shake. As the sword in her hand started to shake, illusionary swords one after another started to appear on both of her left and right sides. In less than a second, thousands of swords appear around her. The sword appeared around her one after another, covering 10 kilometers of area on her left side and 10 kilometers of area on her right side. The swords were still illusionary, and from the distance when hunters saw them, they felt they are looking at the river of flowing swords. All the monsters who were in the range of Sword River's skill felt their hairs stand up to no end, especially monsters who were at A+ and A rank, because they can feel a lethal threat from those swords. Without wasting any time, all the monsters who were running also attacked at Amanda in order to stop her. Fire, thunder, wind, all kinds of attacks came towards Amanda from the monsters. Seeing the attacks, Amanda just smirked and slashed down her sword that she was pointing towards the sky. "Go!" Just as Amanda slashed down, all the illusionary swords around her shook and moved forward like a flowing wave. All the illusionary swords were releasing a very sharp aura, and when they moved forward, the ground was sliced apart as the deep chasms formed on the ground. The Sword River clashed against the incoming monster attacks. Everyone expected to see an explosion or something like that when the Sword River clashed against monsters' attacks. But nothing like that happened. All the attacks that came into contact with the Sword River disappeared like they were swallowed by the flowing river. Sword River is one of Amanda's unique skills, and its power was increased by 100% because of the aura zone. When it clashed against the attacks of monsters, all of those attacks disappeared because of the intense sword aura condensed in those illusionary swords. Even though the Sword River dimmed a little after clashing against the attacks of monsters, it still moved forward just like before. Seeing thousands of swords coming toward them, the monsters who were in the range of attack tried to stop it, but all of their attacks disappeared after clashing against the Sword River. Even though the power of the Sword River was reduced after clashing against many attacks, it was still not something that can be taken lightly. When the Sword River reached near Monster Tide, all the monsters felt a sharp aura cutting their bodies. When they came into contact with illusionary swords, their bodies were cut apart. The A+ rank monsters who came into contact with swords were lightly injured and were bleeding. Meanwhile, most of the A rank monsters that came into contact with swords were heavily injured. Some lost their legs while some were covered in deep wounds all over their bodies. Some A rank monsters with a low defense even lost their life. other than A and A+ rank monsters. Whoever came into contact with the Sword River was either dead or was seriously injured, that it can't even walk properly. With just her attack, Amanda killed around 17 A rank monsters, while the numbers of low-level monsters who died were around 1,000. Even though she killed many monsters and injured the monsters who were in the range of her attack, there were still many monsters, and they were still marching forward. She looked back at Damien, who nodded his head. After seeing him nodding his head, Amanda stopped looking at the monster tide and flew up. After flying up, she gazed at the distance, and her eyes met with the deep yellow eyes of the Hell Ape, who was looking at everything with indifferent eyes. Even though many monsters died just now, its expressions didn't change. We have to stop them till the formation recovers, so that monsters who are A+ rank don't enter in the A rank zone. Amanda thought and took a deep breath. After taking a deep breath, she shot towards Hell Ape. She knew if Hell Ape took action and tried to move towards the city wall, they won't be able to stop it. Without the formation, there is nothing that is stopping it to go towards the city. So in order to not let it go toward the city, she decided to face it, while Damien and other hunters stopped the monster tide. Seeing Amanda going towards Hell Ape, damn near pressed his foot on the ground. Just as he pressed his foot, metal walls one after another started to rise from the ground. Take your position, no matter what happens, don't let any A+ rank monster pass by, Damien shouted while flying up. After seeing Amanda's earlier attack, all the hunters regained their confidence once again. Healer used their skills and started to heal hunters who were seriously injured. Meanwhile, the support class hunters also used their skills and cast buffs on other hunters. All the hunters followed after Damien and landed on the metal walls he created. They looked at the incoming tide as the fight between hunters and monsters finally started. Chapter 286. What happened? Evan was stunned when he suddenly lost connection with Eclipse. It was the first time his shadow undead died, so he wasn't able to grasp the situation immediately. But it didn't take him long to realize that Eclipse is dead. When he realized Eclipse is dead, he can't help but feel there is something wrong on the front line. Let's summon it again and see if I can get anything from it. Evan thought and used his mana to summon Eclipse again. To not alert anyone, he summoned Eclipse inside his shadow storage. Evan felt his mana being drained, and soon Eclipse once appear in his shadow storage. The mana cost of summoning Eclipse is 10 times the cost of healing its injuries. Evan looked at the mana it cost to summon Eclipse again and thought. But after eating mana affinity fruit, he wasn't concerned about his mana. Eclipse, what happened? After summoning Eclipse, Evan asked it. Since it was the first time one of his undead died, he wasn't sure if Eclipse still remembers what happened before it died. Luckily, Eclipse still had all of its memories, and it told Evan everything that happened before it died. The formation was broken by a powerful attack of a monster, and you died because you were not able to escape from there on time. Evan was shocked when he heard Eclipse. The first thought that came into his mind after hearing Eclipse was to escape from there. Now that the formation was broken, A+ rank monsters will also be able to enter an A rank zone, and through the A rank zone, they will soon reach an B rank zone where he is stationed. Calm down, calm down. There is no way those 2S rank hunters and the A+ rank hunters will let them come here easily, Evan thought while taking deep breaths. Using share senses, he asked Eclipse to use its stealth skill and go toward the front line again. He also asked it to get another storage ring which was placed inside his shadow storage. There is no way he is going to miss any chance to collect the calls. He bought some extra storage rings, just in case his shadow undead dies and lost its storage ring. He could have asked Elijah or Necros to go there, since they were currently closer to the front line. But without stealth skill, it will be impossible for them to go there without being seen by hunters. Eclipse came out from his shadow using stealth skill, and no one was able to notice it. All the hunters around Evan were either B rank or B+ rank, and it is not easy for them to notice Eclipse if they are not paying attention to it. Let's hope everything is fine, Evan thought and sighed. Before making any decision, he wanted to check the situation of the front line first. Even if the high-rank monsters cross the front line, he was confident enough that he will still be able to escape from here, using his shadow energy. Eclipse moved like the wind without stopping and rushed towards the front line. In just 30 minutes he covered 200 kilometers, and arrived at the area where the formation of a rank zone was located. Evan was using shadow senses and was keeping an eye on everything as well. When Evan saw the formation of a rank zone was still fine, he sighed in relief. But soon he saw the ground around Eclipse started to shake. When Eclipse looked in front of it, it saw thousands of monsters marching forward. Eclipse climbed on a tree and tried to see if there is any monster who is above A+ rank in the monster tide that is approaching. Evan said to Eclipse, who quickly climbed up a tree. After climbing the tree, Eclipse gazed at the incoming monster tide. Even though it was quite a distance away from the tide, it was still able to see them clearly. All the monsters were releasing their aura without holding back while rushing forward, so it was not difficult for Eclipse to assess their rank. Looks like the situation on the front line is still under control, Evan thought when he saw the highest rank monsters who were approaching were A rank. Since there were no A+ rank monsters among them, Evan guessed the hunters in the front line somehow stopped them. The hunters who were stationed in A rank zone started to attack on the approaching monster tide after seeing it. The monsters also did the same and attacked without holding back. All kinds of skills and attacks were being used as Evan watched everything while feeling stunned. This was the first time he was seeing such a large-scale fight, where high-ranking monsters and hunters were fighting. When the monsters reached near the formation wall and clashed against it, the wall shook and many ripples formed on the illusionary wall. Monsters below A rank easily passed through the wall, but all the A rank monsters were stopped by the formations. The hunters who were stationed there did not bother themselves with the monsters who were able to pass through the formation and focused on A rank monsters, since they were their main target. Necros, Elijah Evan contacted his 2 remaining undeads who were still paying cards. Get ready, the monster tide is here. Mix yourself among them and try to gather as many cores as possible. Hearing Evan, Necros and Elijah stopped playing and stood up. Eclipse, you stay there and keep an eye on what is happening in the A rank zone. If you see anything abnormal, contact me immediately, Evan said to Eclipse and stopped using his shadow senses. Considering the speed of those monsters, they should be here in around 20 or so minutes. Evan thought and looked at Sophie and others who were standing beside him. Let's farm as many cores as possible before anything bad happens. Chapter 287. Get ready for the fight. Around 20 minutes later, the voice of a rank hunter who was floating in the air reverted to the area. Rumble! Exclamation point. Just as his voice sounded, all the hunters felt the ground shake a little because of the thousands of monsters who were coming toward them. Evan and other hunters who will fight directly were standing in front of the formation wall, while the hunters who were long-range fighters were standing at the top of the walls with the support class hunters. When the monster tide came into their sight, the support class hunters quickly took action and casted buffs on the other hunters. Your strength is increased by 5% for the next 20 minutes. Your agility is increased by 5% for the next 20 minutes. Your defense is increased by 8% for the next 10 minutes. Your mana recovery right parenthesis. Evan watched as different notifications came before his eyes one after another. I should create some shadow undeads with support type skills in the future, Evan thought, feeling his power increase greatly because of the buffs. Arrows and different kinds of elemental attacks were launched by long-range hunters on the approaching monster tide. Other hunters who were standing in front of the formation wall also rushed forward to clash with the approaching monster tide. When compared to monsters, the numbers of hunters were quite low, but even then, because of the boost provided by the support class hunters and the teamwork of the hunters, they were not afraid while facing the monsters. Let's go, Mark said in an excited voice and rushed forward. He was eager to use his large shide, and now that monsters were here, he can finally use it. Seeing Mark rushing forward, Evan and others also followed him. While running, Evan also summoned a Qua by side. Just as he summoned a Qua, its purple eyes shone with blue light, and a water armor appeared around Evan. Even though he was wearing B+ rank armor, extra protection is always welcome. Sophie and the others were not surprised by this, because they already saw Evan using it. When Sophie and others asked him about a Qua after he killed the wolves during patrolling, just like what he told Edward, he told them that he has a skill that allows him to summon a B+ rank monster. When they heard he has a skill that allows him to summon a B+ rank monster, they felt like they are not in the same world. After all, what kind of concept is this where a D+ ranker summoning a B+ rank monster? Mark was running in front of Evan and others, and seeing the monsters, he used the skill Taunt. When Evan saw Mark using Taunt skill last night during patrolling, he was completely speechless. According to Sophie, Mark bought the skill book of Taunt from someone. She doesn't know how much he paid to buy the skill book, but according to her, he bought this skill so that he can attract monsters and use his shield against them. But Evan doesn't really care about this. On the contrary, he actually felt it was a good thing Mark has Taunt skill. Using his skill, Mark can attract some monsters towards him, and Evan and others will be able to kill them easily. Just as Mark used his Taunt skill, a red aura appeared around him, and soon around 15 monsters rushed towards him. Among 15 monsters, 2 were C+ rank, 5 were B rank, and 8 were B+ rank. In the group of monsters that Mark attracted, there were 5 frost lions, 3 mantis-type monsters, 3 goblins, and 5 deer-type monsters. Most of the hunters who were fighting were ignoring the monsters who were below B rank. But Mark was attracting all the monsters regardless of their ranks, like saying, "You shall not pass from here." If it was any other B rank hunter, he would have already run away after seeing so many monsters coming towards him at the same time. But instead of showing a panicked expression, Mark laughed out loud and smashed his large shield on the ground. Fortress Shield. Mark shouted and used one of the skills of his A-rank shield. His large shield shined in golden color and looks like an immovable mountain. Because of his Taunt skill, all the 15 monsters were in a frenzy and did not stop even after seeing the shield shining in golden color. The 3 mantis were the fastest and arrived before the shield first. After coming there, they slashed at the shield with their scythe-like arms, because Mark was standing behind it. At the same time, the frost lions also shot ice balls towards Mark. But even after seeing their attacks, Mark just smiled and stood behind his shield. Boom dash. The scythe-like arms of the mantis clashed against the shield, but they were not even able to shake the shield with their attack. The attacks of frost lions also hit the shield, covering the ground around Mark in ice. But even then he stood behind his shield completely unaffected. At this moment, Caleb, who was at the back of the team, took action. His eyes shone with neon pink and invisible waves of energy spread out from his body, going towards the monsters that Mark attracted. Just as those monsters came into contact with the energy wave released by Caleb, their mind became calm and they stopped attacking. Caleb has psychic element related skills. He can control or calm down monsters by using this. His skills are very effective against the monsters who are of lower rank than him, but he can control or calm down high-ranking monsters only for a short period. After Caleb used his skill, all the monsters stopped attacking Mark and stood there without doing anything. The next second, David took action, and the ground below the feet of the monsters split open, and their feet were trapped inside it. Just as their feet were trapped, Caleb stopped using his skill, and the monsters returned to normal. It is not easy for him to stop 15 monsters at the same time. When the monsters returned to normal, they tried to break free from the ground. But before they can break free, Sarah, Evan and Aqua took action. Sarah used her dagger and using them slit the throats of the trapped monsters like a professional assassin. On the other hand, Evan used his sword to kill the monsters. Aqua also used its powerful skills and killed the 3 goblins from the distance. It is been just 20 seconds since Mark attracted the monsters, but using their skills perfectly, they killed all 15 monsters without any problem. After killing the monsters, they did not even wait, and Mark used his Taunt skill once again, attracting another group of monsters towards them. While Mark attracted the monsters, Evan stepped aside a little and came near the dead body of a mantis. Aqua moved in front of him so that Sophie and the others won't be able to see him. After he was sure that no one was looking at him, he used Shadow Resurrection on the mantis. The next second, a shadow mantis rose in front of him. Evan immediately gave it a storage ring and asked it to move away from there. Hearing Evan, the shadow mantis took the storage ring and quickly ran away from there. Seeing the mantis going away, Evan tried to hide his dark smile. The goal of the mantis was not to kill the monster, but to steal the cores of the dead monsters. Chapter 288. Some distance away from the formation wall of the B rank zone, around 10 B+ rank orcs were standing in a circle, surrounding a single black-colored humanoid figure. Just now these orcs noticed this black-colored monster is actually killing her own brothers and sisters, instead of those humans. Seeing what this black-colored monster was doing, they surrounded it in order to avenge their fallen brothers and sisters. The black-colored figure was obviously Alicia, who was killing monsters to collect cores. But unfortunately, she was caught red-handed by these 10 orcs. She tried to act innocent after being caught, but the blood of the last orc she killed was still fresh on the red spear she was holding. Seeing all the orcs were looking at the spear in her hand, Elijah knew she is busted. If someone looks from a distance, they will think that these 10 orcs are some thugs bullying an innocent girl. It can't be helped. After all, Elijah is just 175 cm tall, while all the orcs were at least 2 meters tall. Even though she was surrounded, Elijah wasn't afraid. She pointed her spear at those 10 orcs with a fearless gaze. Earlier she tried to act innocent, so that she can collect cores without attracting attention. But now that she is caught, all she has to do is kill these 10 orcs, and continue the mission her master gave her. Besides, it is not like she is alone. Boom dash. Just as Elijah pointed her spear at one of the orcs, a tree club came smashing down at its head. All the orcs were stunned when one of their brothers' heads was smashed on the ground. They looked at the person who did this, and saw a black one-eyed monster surrounded by a red aura, standing there with a tree club in its hands. The one-eyed monster was obviously Elijah's card-playing buddy Necros, who was using its strength enhancement skill. Seeing Necros, who was even taller than them, the orcs were stunned. Elijah didn't miss this chance, and while the orcs were distracted, she appeared before one of the orcs with lightning speed. The red-colored spear in her hand shined with ominous light, and she stabbed it perfectly at the heart of the orc. Roar! Exclamation point. The orc roared in pain and tried to back away, but before it can back away, Elijah pointed one of her fingers at it, and a light beam pierced its heart through the hole that she made with her spear. With a look of disbelief on its face, the orc dropped to the ground motionless. The other orcs reacted quickly, seeing one of their brother was killed. 4 orcs rushed towards Elijah, while the other 4 dashed toward Necros. Even though the orc who was smashed by Necros earlier didn't die, it was still on the ground, and its head was bleeding heavily. All of these orcs were normal, and there was no one among them that can use skills. Even before turning into Shadow Undead, Elijah could fight against 3 or 4 B+ rank monsters without any problems. Now that she is a Shadow Undead, she is even more powerful, because she doesn't have to worry about feeling pain or running out of stamina while fighting. Meanwhile, Necros was using strength enhancement skill to increase its strength by 100%. Because of being undead, it was using this skill without being worried about any backlash. The orcs thought that they will be able to overpower these black-colored traitors with their numerical advantage. But the reality turned out to be completely different. Because of using strength enhancement, the strength of Necros was way above the orcs who can't use skills. Normally, the orcs use their superior physical strength and defense to kill their enemies. But in front of Necros, both of them were useless. Its strength was higher than the orcs, and with the help of the Eldritch Tree Club, it can smash the head of orcs very easily. Elijah was even more terrifying than Necros. Not only her physical strength, even her agility was way beyond the orcs. They were not even able to touch her before all 4 of the orcs who went after Elijah were killed by her. Necros also killed the 4 orcs who came after it without any problem, even though it was injured in some places after the fight ended. Roar! Exclamation point. Just as both of them killed all the orcs who came after them, the orc who was smashed on the ground by Necros earlier stood up and roared out in fury. But when it looked around and saw its 9 brothers were already dead, it was stunned. It looked at Necros and Elijah, who were looking at it weirdly, and took a step back because of fear. 5 seconds later, the orc who just roared out loud was also laying on the ground lifelessly. After killing the orcs, Elijah and Necros looked for the cores. They got 3 cores from these 10 B+ rank orcs. After putting away the cores, they looked at each other and left the place to gather more cores. Evan and others were still fighting against the monsters in the front of formation wall. It is been 3 hours since the fight started. After fighting for 3 hours continuously, most of the hunters were tired. Evan and his team were still using the same tactics and were killing the monsters. There were hundreds of corpses around them. They were forced to change their position quite some time in the last 3 hours, because of the number of monster corpses piled up around them. Mark was still using taunt skill attracting monsters, while Sophie and others were killing them. Suddenly Evan moved aside from his position, and a choir covered him, so that Sophie and others won't be able to see him. The next second a black-colored mantis came there, and after giving a storage ring to Evan, it left from there quietly. Without checking the storage ring, Evan threw it inside his shadow storage. It was the third shadow mantis that he created in the past 3 hours. Since the mantis was an unsaved shadow undead, it can last only for 1 hour. After creating his first shadow mantis, he asked it to collect as many cores as possible, and return back to him in 50 minutes. Since then he is creating 1 shadow mantis each hour, and sending them to collect cores. Time to send another shadow mantis. Evan thought and was about to create another shadow mantis from the dead body he stored in his shadow storage, when he suddenly felt Eclipse is trying to contact him. Without any hesitation, he stopped thinking about cores and used shadow senses. Earlier he asked Eclipse to contact him if anything happens at the A rank zone, and now that it is contacting him, he knew there must be a problem in the A rank zone. Chapter 289. 40 minutes before Eclipse contacted Evan. After successfully stopping A+ rank monsters till the formation was repaired, Damien and the other hunters were fighting against them. Damien was looking at the far distance from time to time, from where he can feel powerful energy fluctuations coming occasionally. That was the place where Amanda was fighting against Hell Ape. In their initial plan, 2 S-rank hunters were supposed to fight against Hell Ape, but after receiving the news that the Dark Guild would attack on the city, one of the S-rank hunters, Ron, was stationed there and wasn't able to come here. Damien also can't leave the front line, because the numbers of A+ rank monsters were very high compared to hunters. If he leaves the front line to help Amanda, he was afraid that the front line will not be able to hold up. Swish! Exclamation point. A sharp sword slash tore through the air, and came before the Hell Ape, who was covered in black flames. Seeing the sword slash, the black flames around Hell Ape intensified, and it punched the incoming sword slash. Boom dash. With a loud booming sound, the sword slash was obliterated into small motes of sword light and scattered in the surroundings. When those motes of sword light touched the ground was split open as deep crevices formed there. Amanda and Hell Ape were around 20 kilometers away from the front line. The entire surrounding area around them was completely destroyed. The ground in more than 10 kilometers of the area was scorched black because of the destructive hellfire, and deep sword slashes and crevices can be seen everywhere. Amanda was panting heavily while looking at the Hell Ape, who used its skill to reduce its size to 2 meters, so that it can fight against Amanda more comfortably. There was a deep frown on Amanda's face, and her body was burned in many places. Compared to her, the breathing of the Hell Ape was more stable. Even though there were many sword wounds all over its body, anyone can tell that Amanda was weaker than the Hell Ape. Just what kind of monster is it? Amanda can't help but click her tongue in irritation. She faced some S-rank monsters in the past, but no one was as strong as the Hell Ape in front of her. And from the indifferent expression on its face, she was feeling that it wasn't even trying its best to fight her. It was more like it is trying to exhaust her and is waiting for something. After destroying the sword slash, the Hell Ape looked at Amanda, who was panting heavily, and its eyes flashed. It is time to take the next step, the Hell Ape muttered in a low voice. Amanda just saw its lips moving and wasn't able to hear it, but for some reason, her heart tightened. Hell prison. Suddenly pillars of black flames shot out from the ground and surrounded both Amanda and the Hell Ape. After reaching 50 meters high, all the flame pillars connected with each other, enclosing both Hell Ape and Amanda in a prison that looks like a bar cage. Seeing the prison, Amanda narrowed her eyes. She didn't expect Hell Ape to use this kind of move. Because of Hell prison, both of them have limited space for moving. Even though the physical strength of Hell Ape is far superior to her, she will not be at a disadvantage because of the limited space. On the contrary, because of the sword aura she releases all the time, the Hell Ape will have a hard time dodging her attacks because of limited space. Seeing the confused expressions on Amanda's face, the lips of the Hell Ape arched upward, and the next second black flames burst forth from its body. Amanda was about to use her skill to defend against the black flames, but soon she realized the flames were not attacking her. The black flames that were coming out from the ape's body started to materialize, and soon a clone of Hell Ape appeared beside it. But even after the clone appeared, the flames coming out from its body didn't stop, and more flames continued to come out from its body. In just less than 5 seconds there were 10 clones of Hell Ape in front of Amanda. Even though she can feel the power of the clones was just 50% of Hell Ape's original power, she still can't help but feel a sense of crisis. But the next thing that Hell Ape did once again surprised her. Instead of using its clones to attack on her, it rushed towards her, leaving its clones behind. The Hell Ape arrived before her in an instant and sent a fist towards her. Even though Amanda was confused, she still used her sword and slashed at the incoming fist of Hell Ape. The sword and fist clashed as the shockwaves swept the area. Amanda was pushed back because of the impact, but did not receive any damage. On the other hand, after clashing against the sword, a deep wound appeared on the arm of the Hell Ape as the sword aura ravaged its wound. But the Hell Ape ignored the injury it received and once again charged towards her. At this moment, Amanda suddenly saw an opening appearing at the other end of the Hell prison, and the 10 clones summoned by the ape left from there through that opening. *T seeing the clones leaving from the back, Amanda can T help but curse, and finally understood the Hell Ape did not summon those clones for her. She quickly evaded the attack of the Hell Ape. Sword aura burst forth from her body as she slashed at the cage that was enclosing her. It is useless. Just as she slashed, she heard the voice of Hell Ape, and the prison bars lit up. The next second, tens of fireballs shot out from the prison bars, obliterating her sword slash. If you want to leave from here, you will have to defeat me first. The Hell Ape spoke as it looked at Amanda with a smile on its face. Hearing Hell Ape, Amanda gritted her teeth and watched helplessly as the 10 clones of Hell Ape dashed towards the front line. Chapter 290. Feeling Eclipse is trying to contact him, Evan used shadow senses. But since he was on the battlefield, he adjusted his skill, and only the view of his right eye changed. From his left eye, he was still seeing what was happening on the battlefield, while with his right eye, he was seeing the situation of the A-rank zone. When his view changed and he saw what was happening in the A-rank zone, he was completely stunned. How did A+ rank monsters appear here? Evan thought when he saw A+ rank monsters in the A-rank zone. From what he could see through Eclipse, he noticed 12 A+ rank monsters there. Along with A+ rank monsters, he also saw some A+ rank hunters who were trying to stop them. Since these A+ rank monsters are here, does it mean the front line already collapsed? Evan thought while thinking about what should he do next. The formation of a rank zone is specially made to stop A rank monsters. It won't be able to stop A+ rank monsters. Plus, A+ rank monsters can break the formation, allowing even A rank monsters to come here. Just what the hell are those 2S rank hunters doing? Evan thought, feeling absurd that they allowed these monsters to reach the A rank zone. Even though those A+ rank hunters were currently stopping the A+ rank monsters from passing by the formation, from the current situation, he was sure that it won't take long before they will be able to pass through from the A rank zone, and will come here. Evan doesn't really want to leave from here because there are still many monsters here, and he wanted to collect their calls. Eclipse, try to go to the front line and see what the FU*K is going on there. Evan told Eclipse to go to the front line from where A+ rank monsters came here. Before deciding anything, he wanted to see what was happening on the front line. Eclipse complied with his order, and, using stealth, tried to move towards the S rank zone. Most of the hunters present there were A and A+ rank. It wasn't difficult for them to sense Eclipse. But because it was only B rank monster, no one paid any attention to it. Soon Eclipse passed through the formation wall and rushed towards the S rank zone. He was moving carefully so that it won't be caught in the attack of those A and A+ rank hunters. While Eclipse was going there, Evan stopped using his shadow senses, because from its current speed, it will take Eclipse at least 30 to 40 minutes to reach at the front line. After he stopped using shadow senses, Evan created a shadow mantis once again. Instead of sending it to steal cores, he gave it 2 storage rings, and sent it towards Necros and Elijah. Let's hope I won't have to run away from here, Evan thought, and returned back to kill monsters with Sophie and others. After 10 minutes, the shadow mantis Evan sent reached at the location of Elijah and Necros. It gave them the 2 storage rings it brought with it, and took their old storage rings, which were filled with cores. After Evan confirmed Mantis collected the cores-filled rings from them, he ordered Elijah to go towards the A-rank zone. Since Eclipse was going towards the S-rank zone, he wasn't able to see what is happening in the A-rank zone now. Even though he guessed that those A+ rank monsters won't be able to come here for the time being, he doesn't want to take any risk for no reason. When Elijah received his order, she dashed towards the A-rank zone immediately. While both Eclipse and Elijah were going toward their destination, Evan continued to kill more monsters with Sophie and others. Killing those B and B+ rank monsters was not hard for them, because of their perfect skills combinations. But not all the hunters were like them. When looking at the battlefield, Evan can see many dead bodies of the hunters. Even though the death rate of hunters was far lower than the monsters, it was still true that in the past 3 hours, more than 300 hunters died in the B rank zone. After 15 minutes, Elijah reached at the A rank zone and contacted Evan. When Evan used shadow sensors, he saw that the A rank zone was still the same, and hunters were trying to stop A+ rank monsters from coming here. After confirming the A rank zone was still fine, he once again stopped using shadow sensors and waited for Eclipse to reach at the front line. After 10 more minutes, Eclipse finally reached near the front line without dying and contacted Evan. Without waiting, he immediately used shadow sensors to see the situation there. But when he saw the situation at the front line, he was completely stunned. The entire area of the front line was scorched black. The formation of the S rank zone was completely destroyed, and he saw a giant crater that was at least 10 kilometers wide. From his position, he wasn't able to see how deep the crater was, but he was able to see some black flames coming out from the giant crater from time to time. Most of the hunters present there were heavily injured and were trying to stop the monsters. He also saw many corpses of both hunters and monsters. The situation on the front line was completely chaotic. Where are those 2 S-rank hunters? Evan thought with a deep frown on his face and looked around. After looking around, he soon noticed the male S-rank hunter he saw earlier. But when he saw the condition of the male S-rank hunter, he was even more shocked, and his jaw almost dropped to the ground. The armor Damien was wearing was completely tattered, his face was pale, and his aura was chaotic. His body was burned from all over the place, and one of his arms was missing. Seeing Damien's disheveled condition, Evan's mind went blank for a moment. There was only one thought in his mind. Just what the hell happened here? Chapter 291. 35 minutes before, Evan was contacted by Eclipse. Metal burst. Damien used one of his skills, unleashing a devastating explosion of metal fragments, causing widespread damage to monsters. One of the A-rank monsters died immediately, while some A and A+ rank monsters were injured because of his attack. Other hunters took advantage of the damage caused by Damien and unleashed their attacks on the injured monsters. The beginning of the monster tide was not good for the hunters, but under Damien's leadership, they successfully defended the front line until the formation was recovered. The area was completely devastated because of the powerful attacks of the hunters and monsters. The ground was covered in the blood of both hunters and monsters as both sides were trying their best. At this moment, Damien felt 10 chaotic auras coming towards the front line from the direction where Amanda was fighting against the Hell Ape. When he looked in that direction, he saw 10 Hell Apes covered in black fire coming towards them. He can feel the power of those 10 Hell Apes was weaker than the S-rank Hell Ape he saw earlier, but the aura of those 10 Hell Apes was very chaotic. Why is the aura of those apes is so strange? Damien thought when he saw the 10 apes. Because of the high-level skill of the Hell Ape, even Damien was not able to see that those 10 Hell Apes were actually clones, not real monsters. But currently, Damien was fighting against 4 A+ rank monsters, so he did not think much about them and left them to other hunters. They are much weaker than the S-rank Hell Ape, other hunters should be able to handle them. Damien thought and continued his fight against the 4 A+ rank monsters. When those 10 clones were just 5 kilometers away from the front line, 2 A+ rank hunters and 4 A rank hunters went towards them. When the clones noticed 6 hunters coming toward them, one of the clones increased its speed, leaving other clones behind, and dashed towards the hunters. When those 6 hunters saw this, they sneered and launched their attack on the clone who was rushing forward. The clone dodged some of their attacks, but it was still hit by most of the attacks, and its body, which was made from hellfire, turned a little transparent. But even after taking their attacks head on, the clone did not stop, and continued to rush towards them. The hunters were stunned when they saw how the Hell Ape ignored their attack and continued to rush towards them. In an instant, the clone reached within 50 meters of their range. Just as it reached within 50 meters of their range, its aura became completely unstable, and the body of the clone started to swell. When the hunters saw what was happening, their eyes opened wide, and a sense of impending doom engulfed them. All of them tried to run away from there, but it was already too late. Boom dash. A devastating explosion happened as the clone exploded. All 6 hunters were caught in the explosion. Their bodies were blown away by the explosion as the hellfire generated from the explosion ravaged their bodies. The life aura of 2A rank hunters immediately disappeared. Both of them died instantly, while the aura of the other 4 hunters became very feeble. The power of the explosion was very close to the attack of an S-rank hunter. There was no way for those hunters who were not prepared for such an attack to come out fine from such an attack. Damn, they are not real monsters. Only when the clone exploded did Damien realize they are not real monsters, but clones. After the 6 hunters who came to stop them were blown away, the remaining 9 clones continued to move towards the formation. Most of the hunters were busy dealing with other monsters, and it was impossible for them to stop the clones. Seeing the situation, Damien knew if he doesn't do anything the situation will turn worse for them. Metal Storm. A large amount of mana burst forth from Damien's body, as he summoned a torrential rain of metal projectiles, raining down upon 4A+ rank monsters he was fighting against, and causing widespread destruction. All 4 monsters he was fighting against were caught in his attack and were forced to defend themselves. One of the 4A+ rank monsters he was fighting against was not able to react on time and turned into a meat skewer, losing its life. The other 3 monsters were also injured and were forced to step back. Damien did not even look at the result of his attack and already dashed towards the remaining 9 clones, who were just 1 kilometer away from the front line. While going towards them, Damien's eyes shined with a silver color, and a large metallic wall rose in front of clones. Seeing the large metallic wall, one of the clones once again increased its speed and exploded after coming near the wall, destroying it completely. Damien already expected this, so he was not surprised, and by the time the clone destroyed the wall, he arrived before the formation where the clones were heading. But when the metal wall was blown away, Damien's eyes trembled because of the scene that greeted him. After the clone exploded, a large amount of hell flames came out from its body, but instead of scattering into the area, all the flames that came out from its body were absorbed by one of the clones who was coming from behind, and its aura became even more chaotic. Seeing what happened, a terrifying possibility came into Damien's mind, and he felt his body turning cold. Without thinking anything, he shot tens of metal projectiles towards the clones. But just as he attacked them, the clone who just absorbed Hellflame lit up and exploded, successfully destroying all the projectiles that were coming towards them. The explosion was even bigger than last time, and to Damien's horror, the hell flames that came out from its body were absorbed by another clone. The amount of hell flames that came out from this clone was even larger than before, and when the clone absorbed the flames, its aura instantly skyrocketed. During all this time, the clones never stopped moving, and now were just 100 meters away from Damien and the formation. Just as they reached within 100 meters of range, 6 out of the 7 remaining clones lit up. Damien felt all hairs on his body stand up to no end, and immediately tens of metal walls rose between him and the clones. Boom dash boom dash. The next second, earth-shattering explosions happened one after another, shaking the entire front line. The metal walls Damien created were destroyed like they were made of paper, and powerful shock waves sent him flying backwards as he crashed on the ground, coughing out blood in the process. Even though he was sent flying, Damien quickly stood up because he knew it was just the beginning. When he stood up, he saw a storm of black flames rising into the sky, but what terrified him even more was the figure of one of the clones, who was greedily absorbing all the hell flames. In less than 2 seconds, the clone absorbed all the hell flames, and its body started to swell up. F***K. Damien can't help but curse when he saw this and felt his blood turning cold. Iron Fortress. Damien's eyes shone, and he created a large metal barrier around the clone, trapping it inside. At the same time, tens of metal walls rose around the metal barrier, enclosing it from all sides. He knew if he doesn't lower the impact of the explosion, many hunters will die. Just as Damien created the metal walls, dash. An explosion that shook tens of kilometers of the area happened. The metal barrier Damien created was blown away. The walls he created turned into dust without resistance, and the entire area was engulfed by hell flames. Damien was also caught in the explosion. Since he was very close to it, the formation wasn't able to handle the impact of the explosion and was immediately destroyed. Even the array that was connecting the formation was destroyed, making it completely useless. When monsters saw the formation disappear, some of them run past the hunters and dashed towards the A-rank zone. All the hunters were stunned because of such an unexpected turn of events and were not able to react immediately. go after them. But soon they heard Damien's voice and saw he was floating in the air. He was heavily injured and was missing one of his arms. When they heard Damien, some of the hunters quickly rushed after the monsters, as everything on the front line became chaotic. Chapter 292. Where is that female S-rank hunter? Evan thought after seeing Damien's condition. He did not know what happened on the front line, but he was sure that if the situation continued to go on like this, it will not be long before the front line completely collapse. After looking around, he noticed powerful mana waves coming from the distance. Seeing the mana waves, it did not take him long to understand where Amanda was. She must be fighting against the S-rank monster. Evan thought, because he knew in the monster tide, there was one S-rank monster. He pondered for some time, and after hesitating for a moment, he ordered Eclipse to go in the direction from where mana waves were coming. He also reminded it to stop at a safe distance from them. Hearing Evan, Eclipse started to move in Amanda's direction carefully. The front line was very chaotic, and both hunters and monsters were fighting with everything they got. Even though Damien was heavily injured, Evan saw he was still fighting, trying his best to stop the monsters. To not get caught in their attack, Eclipse was moving very slowly. Seeing that it would take Eclipse around 10 minutes to reach there with its current pace, Evan stopped using shadow sensors and went towards Sophie. He also called back Aqua, who returned back into his shadow. I don't think I can fight for the time being. I am almost out of mana, and even after using the recovery potion, I am feeling extremely tired. I am going to take some rest and will come back after some time, he said to Sophie and others after approaching them. So you are finally out of gas, huh? It is already amazing you were able to fight continuously for more than 3 hours, despite being a D+ rank hunter, Mark said and nodded his head. Go ahead, we are also thinking about taking a break after killing a few more monsters, Sophie said to him and didn't object. Hearing them, Evan nodded his head and went towards the formation. He passed through the formation wall, but instead of moving towards the area where most of the hunters were resting, he found a place where no one was present and sat there. After sitting, he used shadow sensors and connected with Eclipse once again. It was still going in the direction of Amanda while avoiding other monsters and hunters. If only I can use my full power without worrying about anything, Evan muttered when he saw many dead bodies of monsters and hunters on the front line. Using Shadow Resurrection, he can change the current situation of the front line, but if he does this, he will be in big trouble. He is just a D+ rank hunter in the eyes of others who doesn't even have a class. If others find out about his Shadow Resurrection skill, there is a very high chance the secret of his Shadow Monic physique will also expose. I can't expose my skills before I have enough power to face an S-rank hunter, Evan thought and ignored what was happening on the front line. Soon Eclipse escaped from the chaotic area, and its moving speed increased. As he approached the location of Amanda and the Hell Ape, the power of the mana waves he had felt earlier also increased. At the same time, he was shocked when he saw the destruction caused by the fight of two S-rankers. Just how powerful they are, Evan can't help but think when he saw the scorched black ground and deep sword crevices all over. The trees in the area were either turned into coal or were cleanly severed. The entire area was completely devastated and was looking like a great war took place here. After approximately 5 minutes, Evan finally noticed a giant black cage made of black flames. Eclipse, stop, Evan said to Eclipse when he noticed the black cage. Even though Eclipse was still 6 or 7 kilometers away from the cage location, Evan was still able to clearly see what was happening there. Inside the cage, he saw Amanda and Hell Ape who were fighting with each other. The cage was filled with black fire and sword light. Even though he was looking at the fight through Eclipse, Evan felt he wouldn't be able to survive even for a second if he went inside that cage. But he soon stopped thinking about useless things and focused on Amanda, who had an anger-filled look on her face. She clearly heard the loud explosion earlier and knew something big must have happened on the front line. From the looks of it, it doesn't look like their fight will end soon, Evan muttered when he saw them fighting. If the current situation doesn't change, it won't take long before the front line completely collapses and high-rank monsters move towards Naflium City. To change the current situation, Evan could only think of 2 ways. First, he goes to the front line, uses his Shadow Resurrection skill, and creates high-ranking Shadow Undead to assist the hunters. But taking into account his personal safety, there is no way he is going to do that. The second way is somehow Amanda kills the Hell Ape and returns back to the front line. With the death of the Hell Ape, high-ranking monsters present on the front line will surely lose their confidence, making the fight much easier. At the same time, with the help of Amanda, it will be much easier to defend against the monsters. Evan looked at the fight for some time using his shadow senses. After some time, he looked at the A-rank zone through a leisure. Seeing the situation in the A-rank zone, the frown on his face deepened. The situation in the A-rank zone was slowly spiraling out of control. After seeing the situation in A-rank zone, he stopped using shadow senses and took a deep breath. He looked at the clear sky, his mind filled with numerous thoughts. Looks like this is the only option, Evan muttered and stood up while sighing. Chapter 293. After making up his mind, Evan first took off his communication bracelet. Since he doesn't want anyone to know he is going to the front line, it was necessary to take off his bracelet. There is a tracking device in the bracelet, and if he goes to the front line while wearing it, there is a chance that he will be exposed. After taking off his bracelet, he put it in his shadow storage. On the screen of his bracelet, it was showing 69,765 merits. By killing monsters, you can get merit points that can be exchanged for artifacts or other things. The number of merit points you get after killing monsters depends on their rank. For killing F rank monster, you will get 1 point. F plus rank equals 3 points. E rank equals 5 points. E plus rank equals 10 points. D rank equals 15 points. D plus rank equals 25 points. C rank equals 50 points. C plus rank equals 100 points. B rank equals 250 points. B plus rank equals 500 points. O rank equals 3000 points. A plus rank equals 7000 points. S rank equals 25,000 points. Evan killed many monsters along with Sophie and others. Since they were working in a team, it was impossible for Mark and Caleb to earn points, because their job was to attract the monsters and stop them. The killing job was left to Sophie, David and Evan. But before the monster tie began, they already decided to divide the points equally. So Caleb and Mark were not dissatisfied with this arrangement. After putting away his bracelet, Evan looked around, and after confirming no one was around him, he used the Shadow Walk skill. Normally, after using the Shadow Walk skill, he would have turned into an invisible shadow. But after his Monarch Core reached to C rank, all of his shadow-related skills improved a little bit. Read chapter 236 for details. Now he can decide whether he wants to change into shadow form or not after activating the skill. If he decided to not turn into a shadow after using the skill, his skill will just act like a normal invisibility skill. Because of not turning into a shadow and just using its invisibility effect, the mana cost of the skill will be reduced by 50%. Of course, since the mana cost is reduced, the performance of the skill will also reduce greatly. While using Shadow Walk, if he doesn't turn into shadow form, he won't be able to pass through the barriers and other restrictions. After becoming invisible, Evan used Shadow Wings and took into the blue sky, and flew towards the front line. While flying toward the front line, he was still keeping an eye on what was happening in the A-rank zone. If the formation of the A-rank zone broke down, the hunters who are in the B rank and other zones will be in great danger. Through Eclipse, he saw Amanda was still fighting against the Hell Ape, trying to leave the Hell Prison. Along with Shadow Wings, he also used wind manipulation to increase his speed, and in just 30 minutes he reached near A-rank zone. In the A-rank zone, there were many high-ranking monsters and hunters. Evan knew they will easily be able to feel his presence even though he was using Shadow Walk skill. His skill was still not strong enough to hide him from the A and A+ rankers. Seeing many high-ranking monsters and hunters, Evan's eyes narrowed. His Monarch Core buzzed, and instead of mana, he used Shadow Energy to activate his Shadow Walk skill. Just as he used Shadow Energy to activate his Shadow Walk skill, his presence completely disappeared from there. Because of Shadow Energy, the effect of his skill was increased by many folds. But at the same time, Evan felt some pressure on his mind. Using Shadow Energy instead of mana put great pressure on his mind. The last time when he used Shadow Energy after his advancement, he didn't feel this pressure, because at that time he was receiving shadow energy through his connection with the shadow realm. But now that he is using the energy of his monarch core, it was putting pressure on his mind. With this, Evan also confirmed one thing that he was thinking about. If he uses shadow energy to cast skills, it will put pressure on his mind and soul. While if he uses shadow energy like mana reinforcement to strengthen his body, then it will put pressure on his physical body instead of his mind and soul. After using shadow energy to activate Shadow Walk, Evan felt his presence completely disappear, and without hesitation, he charged toward A rank zone. When he passed through the A rank zone, even A and A+ rankers were not able to notice him. But Evan can feel his spiritual power was being drained at rapid speed, and the pressure on his mind was increasing, because of using shadow energy. To reach his destination as soon as possible, he used shadow energy on his shadow wings as well. When he replaced mana with shadow energy to use shadow wings, his flying speed increased greatly. Like a shooting star, he flew straight towards the front line. Because of his increase in speed, it did not take him long before he was able to see the front line. Even before he reached there, he can feel powerful auras of monsters and the hunters present there. He was sure that anyone present on the front line can kill him with a single attack. He also saw Damien, who was still trying his best to stop the monsters despite being seriously injured. Evan avoided Damien's location purposely and continued to fly forward. Using his high speed, it was not hard for him to avoid other hunters and monsters. But surprisingly, even after passing through the front line, Evan didn't stop and continued to fly. Soon he left the front line and approached the location where Amanda was fighting against the Hell Ape. Chapter 294. After passing through the S rank zone, Evan stopped using shadow energy and returned to using mana once again. With the cessation of shadow energy usage, the pressure on his mind slowly decreased. However, even as the pressure lessened, his mind remained exhausted from its prior use. While going towards Eclipse, he took out a green potion and drank it. Just as he drank the potion, a soothing feeling spread all over his body, calming down his mind. It was the Serenity Potion that can calm down people's minds and recover some of their spiritual power. Evan bought this potion just in case if he uses his mind suppression skill too much. Mind suppression skill consumes his spiritual power, and this potion can recover some of it. I used 10% of my total shadow energy while coming here, Evan said inwardly when he looked at his remaining shadow energy. After drinking the potion, he continued to fly toward Eclipse. 3 minutes later, he landed beside Eclipse, who was still looking at the fight in the distance. He was still using the Shadow Walk skill through mana, so he was invisible, and since Amanda and Hell Ape were busy fighting, they were not able to sense his presence. He watched Amanda and Hell Ape for some time, and after he felt his mind was completely recovered, he took a deep breath. "Come back, Eclipse," Evan said, and called back Eclipse into his shadow storage. After Eclipse came back, Evan flapped his wings and flew high in the sky, going toward the cage where Amanda and Hell Ape were fighting. While going towards them, he once again used shadow energy to activate his Shadow Walk skill. Even though he was a little afraid that they will sense him since they are S rankers, he had enough confidence that he will be able to escape from here without exposing his identity. After just 1 minute, Evan was hovering 300 meters above the cage where Hell Ape and Amanda were fighting. After he stopped 300 meters above them, and they did not notice him, Evan can't help but smile. His plan was actually quite simple. He came here to help Amanda in killing the Hell Ape. Since the only way to turn the situation of the front line is to use Shadow Resurrection or kill the Hell Ape, he decided to go with the second option. Of course, with normal means it is impossible for him to help her kill the Hell Ape. Even with his shadow energy, Evan was sure he won't be able to kill the Hell Ape. He was actually thinking about giving Amanda an opportunity to kill the Hell Ape. He can see that both of them were fighting on equal footing, and neither of them was at a disadvantage. But if he somehow creates an opportunity for Amanda, there is a chance she will be able to kill the Hell Ape. I might be the only idiot who is thinking about messing with an S rank monster, while being a D+ rank noob, Evan muttered, and his eyes turned sharp. He pointed one of his fingers at the Hell Ape as the shadow energy inside his monarch core churned. A small pitch-black bullet started to form at the tip of his finger. At the same time, Evan felt great pressure on his mind because of using shadow energy. Since Evan was using Shadow Walk skill, both Amanda and Hell Ape were not able to feel any energy fluctuations while he was creating the bullet. Evan was thinking about using 60% of his total shadow energy to create the bullet. The first reason behind this was because he still needs shadow energy to avoid high-ranking hunters and monsters, while going back to the B-rank zone. And the second reason was that the more shadow energy he will use in creating the bullet, the more pressure he will feel on his mind. Damn it. Amanda cursed as she split apart hell flames coming toward her. The so-called formation you humans created is already destroyed by me. It won't be long before my minions reach at the city that you all are trying to protect, the Hell Ape said to Amanda in a slightly mocking tone. Hearing Hell Ape, Amanda gritted her teeth. Even though she is far away from the front line, she still felt the impact of the earlier explosion. She knew there is no way the formation can handle that kind of explosion. The moment I decided to attack here, the fate of the city you all are trying to protect was already decided, the Hell Ape said in a tone filled with arrogance, when it saw how Amanda was glaring at it. Bastard, I will kill you, Amanda said as the sword aura around her started to fluctuate. Kill me, the Hell Ape said and burst into laughter. If you had the power to kill me, you would have killed me already. Hearing Hell Ape, Amanda glared at it hatefully, but did not say anything because she knew it was speaking the truth. But at this moment, suddenly a heavy voice resounded in the wilderness. What if I help her? Both Amanda and Hell Ape were startled when they suddenly heard the voice. Even though they were fighting and were not paying attention to their surroundings, it is not easy for other people to approach them because of their high precautions. Just as they were about to look for the person who spoke, both of them felt a very powerful energy fluctuation coming from above. They looked up at the same time, but the eyes of the Hell Ape trembled when it saw a beam of black light tear through the space, and arrived before it in an instant. It wanted to move away. But even before it can do anything, the beam of black light struck it right at the center of its head. Roared dash. The Hell Ape roared in pain as red blood spurted out. At the same time, a notification appeared before Evan, who was hovering high in the sky. Your opponent is blinded for 3 seconds. The blinding effect of his shadow bullet activated. Chapter 295. Roar! Exclamation point! Exclamation point. The Hell Ape roared out in pain as it suddenly lost its vision. Evan was greatly surprised when he saw the notification before him. He didn't expect the blinding effect of his shadow bullet will activate this moment. But he knew it wasn't the time to think about anything else. The blinding effect of his shadow bullet will last only for 3 seconds. Plus, even though he used 60% of his shadow energy in creating that bullet, it was only able to create a small hole at the head of the Hell Ape. Even though this injury was serious, it wasn't fatal for the Hell Ape, who is S-rank monster. It won't take long before it will regain its senses once again. Use your strongest attack, Evan shouted while still being invisible. He tried to change his voice a little while shouting, which is why his voice was very heavy when he spoke. Amanda was still greatly shocked by the sudden turn of events. She had many doubts regarding the current situation, but as an S-rank hunter, her mentality was far stronger than other people, so even before Evan shouted, Amanda was already preparing her attack. Evan was clutching his head with one of his hands while paying attention to the Hell Ape. He was feeling like someone was hammering his head. The pressure on his mind was currently far greater than before, because of using a large amount of shadow energy at the same time. But he knew if he back out at this moment, all the things that he did until now will all be naughts. He dived down from the sky going toward the Hell Prison. A frightening sword aura came out from Amanda's body covering her sword. She was going to use her strongest single target attack skill. She didn't use it previously because this skill requires some time before she can use it. But during her fight against the Hell Ape, she didn't get any chance of using it. Whenever she tried to use it, the Hell Ape would interrupt her, not allowing her to use this skill. Sword River was her strongest area of effect skill, while the skill she was going to use now was her strongest single target skill. The density of the sword aura around her started to increase. The sword aura around her was so high that it started to look tangible. Evan stopped coming any closer when he was 50 meters away from the Hell Prison. The Hell Ape, who was inside the cage with Amanda, also felt the growing sword aura and all the fur on its body stand up. Even though it was blinded and was in deep pain because of Evan's earlier attack, it didn't mean it is going to stand there and wait for its death. The Hell Prison that was enclosing them suddenly disappeared. At the same time, even before Amanda could completely prepare her skill, The Hell Ape pressed its feet on the ground, wanting to move away from there despite being blind. But at this moment Evan, who just dived down, smirked. Suddenly 2 pitch-black chains came out from the ground, binding Hell Ape at the same place. Evan used his shadow energy to cast ice chains in order to stop the Hell Ape. The Hell Ape, who was trying to move away from there, felt 2 cold chains binding its body, preventing it from moving away. Just as the ice chains bound it, the blinding effect of the shadow bullet also ended, and the Hell Ape regained its vision. When it regained its vision and saw the frightening amount of sword aura around Amanda, a sense of impending doom engulfed its body. Roar! The Hell Ape roared out loud in anger and fear as the hell flames burst forth from its body. Sizzle! A sizzling sound rang out as the ice chains that were binding Hell Ape started to melt. Evan gritted his teeth and ignored the pressure he was feeling on his mind, and used more of his shadow energy to reinforce the ice chains. Damn it, even with the ice chains cast using shadow energy, it is not easy to stop this bastard, Evan thought while ignoring the throbbing headache. Suddenly the sword aura covering the surrounding completely disappeared. Evan and Hell Ape looked at Amanda at the same time and saw her lifting her sword, pointing it towards the sky. The sword in her hand was glowing with a silver light, and both of them can feel all the sword aura from the surroundings was absorbed by the sword. Roared dash. Feeling the terrifying sword aura hidden within the sword, the Hell Ape roared out in panic and tried to break free from the ice chains. Crack. Some cracks appeared on the black ice chains, even though Evan was still using his shadow energy. But Amanda's expression did not change. World Splitter. Her eyes shined with silver light as she casually slashed down the sword she was pointing towards the sky. Even though the slash looked ordinary, the result of her slash was anything but ordinary. Whoosh. Just as she slashed down, a devastating sword aura filled the surroundings. Evan was so frightened by the terrifying sword aura that he immediately fled from there without hesitation. The Hell Ape watched with its eyes wide open as a vertical crescent moon-shaped sword slash came toward it, split opening the ground. Even before its mind can fully register what happened, the sword slash passed through its body, and it stood there with its eyes wide open. Amanda watched with cold eyes as the sword slash continued to move forward, forming a deep crevice on the ground. Spurted! Suddenly a fountain of blood burst out as the body of the Hell Ape split into 2 and started to fall down. Even while falling down, its eyes were filled with unwillingness. But it didn't last long as the life aura of the Hell Ape soon disappeared. Seeing the Hell Ape was dead, Amanda did not relax and started to look around, warily looking for the person who helped her kill the Hell Ape. Chapter 296. After Amanda released her attack, Evan immediately fled from there without wasting any time. Just by feeling the power of that attack, he felt his heart almost leapt out from his chest. He saw many kinds of powerful skills over all these years, but the feeling he got from Amanda's attack was completely different. While going back, he was looking back from time to time to confirm she was not coming after him. Even though he was still using Shadow Walk skill through shadow energy, he was afraid that she will catch him now, that she doesn't have to worry about Hell Ape. I am feeling like my head will burst at any moment, Evan thought while gritting his teeth and taking out the Serenity Potion once again. Currently, the pressure on his mind was so great that, if not for the fact that he was worried about being caught, he would have already stopped using his skills, and would have fallen asleep here because of exhaustion. When he drank the Serenity Potion, a cool feeling spread all over his body, including his mind. Because of the potion, his spiritual power started to recover faster, but the pressure on his mind remained the same. Because he was using shadow energy to fly away, Evan arrived at the S-rank zone very quickly. When Evan reached there, he saw all the monsters and hunters who were present on the front line were stunned. All of them were looking in the direction where Amanda and the Hell Ape were fighting a moment ago. They all clearly felt the aura of Hell Ape disappeared just now. She killed that monster, Damien muttered in a shocked voice, feeling baffled by the sudden turn of events. From the aura of the Hell Ape, he knew its power was much higher than Amanda's. He can't understand how she killed it. But even though he was shocked, a relieved smile still appeared on his face. With the death of Hell Ape, it will be much easier for us to control the situation, here Damien said, and a sharp glint appeared in his eyes. At the same time, when monsters present on the front line felt the death of Hell Ape, the first thought that came into their mind was to run away from there. And that is exactly what they did. Without any warning, most of the monsters present on the front line turn around to run away. Kill them. When Hunter saw this, all of them yelled and started to attack with even more intensity. The monsters tried to defend themselves while continuing to run away from there. Evan just stopped for a moment to look at the situation on the front line, before he once again started to fly towards the B rank zone. While flying away, suddenly Evan saw a spear of lightning coming towards him like a missile. Because of the headache he was feeling after using shadow energy, his precautions were very low, and he didn't notice the lighting spear before it arrived before him. Evan's eyes opened wide when the spear arrived before him in an instant, giving him no time to dodge. Just as the spear was about to hit him, Evan felt a warm feeling coming from his right ear, and the next second a silver-colored barrier appeared before him, protecting him from the spear. The lightning spear struck the silver barrier, and just as the spear touched the barrier, it was reflected back in the same direction from where it came from. The lighting spear went back and struck an A-rank lightning armadillo, whose body exploded after the lighting spear struck it. Evan was shocked when he saw what just happened. He slowly lifted his hand and touched his right ear, feeling the texture of the earring he got in the Verdant Wilds dungeon. The Shielding Amulet Earring, a rank. This earring automatically forms a protective barrier around the wearer in case of sudden attack or imminent danger, reflecting and repelling incoming attacks. The duration of the barrier is determined by the amount of damage received by it. The barrier will disappear after exhausting its energy. Once the barrier is used, it will take 6 hours before the wearer can use it again. If not for this barrier, I would have been doomed. Evan shivered, feeling fear after seeing what happened to Lighting Armadillo after getting hit by the spear. But suddenly he noticed a shining round ball near the exploded body of the Lighting Armadillo. Seeing the core of a rank armadillo, Evan's eyes shined like stars, and he flew towards it. He arrived before the core in an instant, and quickly put it away in his shadow storage. Just as he was about to fly away, he noticed the corpses of 3 monsters not far away. Even though he was feeling a throbbing headache, he still went towards the 3 corpses, and put them away in his shadow storage as well. I should take them as my payment for helping them, Evan thought inwardly, and finally left from there. If he wanted, he could have used Shadow Resurrection skill to create higher level shadow undeads here, and replace Aqua and others with them. Aqua and others are just B or B plus rank shadow undeads. With so many A and A plus corpses preset here, he could have easily gotten A and A plus rank shadow undeads. But for some reason, there was a feeling inside him that was telling him to don't replace them. Even though it was completely illogical, Evan decided to not replace his current shadow undeads. Besides, it is not like I have enough shadow energy to use Shadow Resurrection here, Evan thought as he left the S rank zone. It did not take him long to reach at the A rank zone, where the situation was very bad. The hunters were barely holding back the monsters from breaking the formation. Now that the front line is clear, the hunters from there will soon come here to help them. Evan just glanced at the fighting hunters before he crossed the A rank zone formation. After crossing the formation, he first stopped near the location where Elijah was hiding. After summoning her back into his shadow storage, he flew towards B rank zone. Chapter 297. Evan sat down while leaning against a tree. He just came back to the B rank zone, and wanted nothing more than to take a good nap, after using his shadow energy. While coming back along with Elijah, he also brought Necros back. Now that the situation on the front line is pretty much under control, it won't take long before the hunters from there will come here to kill all the monsters. If Necros and Elijah stayed out at that time, they will die without any doubt. I am almost out of shadow energy. It will take around 20 hours before it will fully recover, Evan muttered, seeing his Monarch core was almost empty. Eclipse. Evan summoned Eclipse and ordered it to guard him. He was completely exhausted and just wanted to take a short nap. Eclipse used its stealth skill to hide its presence and started to patrol around the area Evan was sleeping. Buzz dash. Evan just started to fall asleep when he felt slight vibration coming from the bracelet that he just wore after coming back. He opened his eyes and glanced at the screen of his bracelet, only to see it was Mark who was contacting him. Damn, I completely forget about them. Evan sighed inwardly and accepted the call. Oi, are you alive? Just as he accepted the call, he heard Mark's voice. Evan almost cursed out loud hearing such a stupid question, and held himself back, not ordering Necros to smash Mark's head with its tree club. Nope, I am dead, Evan said to him in a sarcastic voice. Oh, sorry for the inconvenience, please rest in peace. Mark replied to him and ended the call. Evan looked at his bracelet with a dazed look, not knowing what to say. Buzz dash. Suddenly his bracelet vibrated once again, and he saw it was Sophie who called him this time. Where are you? Sophie asked him just as he accepted the call. I am resting not far away from the rest area of the hunters, Evan replied in a sleepy voice. Is there a problem? No, everything is fine, Sophie said while sighing in relief. We are trying to contact you for half an hour, but for some reason, we were not able to connect with your bracelet. So we were just worried that something happened to you. Evan was not surprised when he heard they were not able to contact him. After all, he put away his bracelet in shadow storage before he left for the front line. I am completely fine. I was just sleeping here, Evan said in a confused voice. Maybe my bracelet was damaged while I was fighting against the monsters earlier, which is why you were not able to contact me. I guess, Sophie said and didn't ask anything else. She also believed that there might be a problem with his bracelet. We are going to kill more monsters. Do you want to come or are you still tired? Sophie asked him after a moment. Evan fell into deep thought after hearing her. He knew even if he doesn't go, Sophie and the others will not suspect anything. After all, he is just a D+ rank hunter in their eye, and it is natural for him to take a long time before he fully recover. But it is also his last opportunity to collect more merits points and cores. He already has many cores for his future advancement, but he still wanted to collect more merit points. Earlier, Sophie told him that he can even exchange merit points for skill books. He wanted to collect as many merit points as possible, so that if he see any useful skill, he will be able to buy it. I am coming, Evan said and stood up while shaking his head. He was still exhausted, but he knew the fight won't last long. The hunters from the front line will soon come to a rank zone, and after killing all the monsters there, they will come here to wipe out the remaining monsters. Evan muttered while summoning back Eclipse. I should try to earn as many merits points as possible before they come here, Evan said as he moved toward the B rank formation wall, where Sophie and others were waiting for him. But when he reached there, and Sophie and others saw him, all of them made a strange face. Why do I feel like you are looking even more exhausted than before? David asked when he stopped before them. Is this even a question? Before Evan can say anything, Mark opened his mouth and looked at Evan with narrowed eyes. Seeing how Mark was looking at him, Evan felt a little uncomfortable. Just look at his pale face, and the way he is walking, he said while pointing at him. It is obvious instead of resting this guy was messing with a woman. Hearing Mark, Evan was completely speechless. He looked at Sophie and the others, and saw they were looking at him with their eyes wide open. I did not know you were a wild man doing such a thing in the wilderness, Caleb said and shook his head. Other people also nodded their heads, seemingly agreeing with Caleb. Hearing their nonsense, black lines appeared on Evan's forehead, and he started to walk towards the battlefield, ignoring them. He felt like if he talks with them, his headache will increase once again. Seeing Evan walking away, David and others laughed and followed after him. After coming to the battlefield, Evan once again summoned a Qua and worked with Mark and others to kill monsters. They continued to kill monsters for the next 1.5 hours. Just as Evan was reaching his limits, he finally felt some powerful auras of A and A+ rank hunters coming towards them. So they are finally done with the A rank zone, huh? Evan thought as many A and A+ rank hunters entered the B rank zone. Chapter 298. How unexpected. A man who was wearing a black robe muttered while looking at the situation of the front line from the distance. To think she will be able to kill Hell Ape, the man said and glanced at Amanda, who just came back to the front line. The man was the same person who was traveling with Hell Ape a few days ago. It was keeping an eye on the front line, so he didn't see when Evan helped Amanda, and was thinking she killed it by herself. The situation on the front line already returned to normal. Most of the monsters already ran away after they felt the death of the Hell Ape. Those who were unable to escape were killed by hunters. After the situation of the front line stabilized, some high-rank hunters went towards the A-rank zone to clear the situation there as well. Even though everything didn't go according to my plan, the results are not bad, the man muttered and looked in the direction of the Naflian city. To think there will be an S-rank hunter who will stay in the city, despite the threat of Monster Tide. It is a pity only 4 people were able to escape from there, but they were at least able to cause some real damage to the city, even though it was less than what I initially expected, the man said, and suddenly disappeared from there. Swish! Exclamation point. Amanda swung her sword and beheaded an A-rank forest troll. After killing the troll, she looked around and saw all the monsters on the front line were already dead. It is finally over, Damien said after coming near her. What about the A-rank and other zones? Amanda asked while putting away her sword. Her face was still pale because of fighting against the Hell Ape for so long. The situation in every zone is under control. If nothing goes wrong, everything should end in 3 or 4 hours, Damien said while sitting down on the ground. You look like an old broken doll, Amanda said to Damien with a slight smile on her face. Damien's mouth twitched when he heard Amanda, but he didn't refute her words. He also knew currently he was really looking like an old broken doll. By the way, how did you kill it? Damien suddenly asked with a curious expression on his face. Hearing Damien, Amanda shook her head. I honestly don't know what happened, Amanda said and recounted what happened during her fight against the Hell Ape. When Damien heard she wasn't even able to notice the person who helped her in killing the Hell Ape, he was quite shocked. She is an S-rank hunter, so her senses were naturally very sharp. He can't believe she wasn't even able to see the person who helped her in killing the Hell Ape. Did you try to look for him after killing the Hell Ape? Damien asked with a frown on his face. I just looked around the surroundings, but didn't try to look for him seriously, because I wanted to come here as soon as possible, Amanda said while shaking her head. Besides, since that person didn't show up even after the death of Hell Ape, it is obvious he doesn't want to reveal himself, so I think he might have already left from there after the death of the Hell Ape. Damien nodded his head after hearing Amanda. Do you think he was an S-rank hunter? Damien asked after pondering for some time. Amanda fell into deep thought after hearing Damien. She remembered the black chains that bind the Hell Ape. Those black chains were able to restrict the movement of the Hell Ape even though its physical strength was far above an S-rank monster. I don't think an A+ rank hunter would have been able to stop the Hell Ape for such a long period of time. Amanda thought and nodded her head. There is very high he was an S-rank hunter. If he is really an S-rank hunter, then we might be able to find him after all. There are not many S-rank hunters in the world, Damien said after hearing Amanda. But Amanda was not as confident as Damien, even though she did not pay much attention because she was focused on Hell Ape. She was still able to feel how odd the energy fluctuations coming out from those ice chains were. Since there are not many S-rank hunters in the world, she knows most of the people who reach to S-rank. But she can't recall ever seeing an energy fluctuation like that. The person who helped me might be a new S-rank hunter, and it will not be easy to find him if he doesn't want to reveal himself. Amanda thought and shook her head, but suddenly her eyes turned serious and she looked at Damien. What about the Dark Guild? Did they really attack the city? Hearing Amanda, Damien also remembered about the Dark Guild. Because of the tense situation on the front line, he completely forgot about it. Let me ask Ron, Damien said and used his bracelet to contact Ron, who was stationed in the city, to deal with the Dark Guild. Damien waited for some time, but even after 1 minute, no one answered the call. Both Damien and Amanda looked at each with worry-filled eyes. Just as their heart was filled with doubts, the call was finally answered. What is the situation there, Ron? Did Dark Guild really attack the city? Damien immediately asked when Ron picked up the call. But even after picking up the call, no one spoke from the other side. Both Amanda and Damien started to feel even more nervous when Ron did not speak. Ron, Damien said once again. The information was correct. The people of the Dark Guild attacked the city, just after the arrival of the monster tide. Suddenly they heard a tired voice of a man. Hearing Ron's voice, the expressions of both Damien and Amanda brightened. Were you able to stop them? Amanda quickly asked when she heard Ron's voice. Chapter 299. A man who looks to be in his mid-30s stood at the same place looking in front of him without moving. The man had deep black hair and dark green eyes. From time to time a small amount of aura was leaking out from his body, like he was unable to control his emotions. Whenever his aura leaks out, the surrounding air around him trembles, indicating the person was definitely a high-ranking hunter. I should have kept more hunters by my side, instead of sending most of them to the front line. Ron, the S-rank hunter who was stationed in the city to stop the attack of Dark Guild, said as a sigh escaped from his mouth. He was looking at the completely destroyed area in front of him, which was filled with rubbles and debris of the destroyed buildings. The destroyed area in front of him was used to be city plaza of the city. But now, other than destroyed buildings and corpses of the civilians, there was nothing in that area. The causalities in this area are alone more than 3,000. And I didn't even look at the other 3 areas, Ron said, while clenching his fist. After knowing the Dark Guild will attack the city, all the hunters who were stationed in the city were on high alert. Just as the monster tide reached the front line, Ron also received the news that the south side of the city, where the city plaza was located, was being attacked by some hunters. After getting the news, he immediately rushed there, but while going there he was informed that the other 3 sides of the city were also being attacked. It was impossible for him to take care of 4 places at the same time. Even though they stationed the hunters at all of the major locations of the city, including the places that were being attacked, it was almost impossible for them to stop A and B plus rank hunters without suffering damage. Moreover, the members of the Dark Guild were also caught off guard when they saw some hunters approaching them just as they started their attack. In order to achieve their goal, the A-rank hunter of the Dark Guilds stopped the city guards, while the remaining members of the Dark Guild went on a complete rampage, using their skills and the destructive artifacts that they brought with them to cause as much chaos as possible. In the south area where Ron went, he was able to stop the members of the Dark Guild before they were able to cause much damage. But after he stopped them, something that he did not expect happened. All of the members of the Dark Guild except the A-rank hunters used some kind of technique, and their bodies exploded, causing large-scale destruction in the surroundings. There were 2 B+ rank, 4 B rank, and 8 C+ rank hunters who exploded at the same time. The power generated by so many hunters exploding at the same time was enough to wipe out more than 10 kilometers of the area of the city. But Ron at that time reacted quickly and was able to prevent such large-scale destruction. But even then, around 3 kilometers of the area was completely destroyed. It was a place with many people, so the causalities were very high. Like this was not enough, he soon received the news that the other members of the Dark Guild who were attacking the other areas of the city did the same thing. When the A-rank hunters of the Dark Guild were not able to stop the city guards, all the members of the Dark Guild used the same technique and blow up their bodies. Moreover, since there was no one like Ron to stop the effect of the explosion in other areas, the casualties and the destruction in those 3 areas were even greater than the south side of the city. As for the A-rank hunters of the Dark Guild, all of them had an escape scroll with them. When they realized their situation was not good, all of them used the scroll and escaped from there. Soon some city guards approached Ron, who was standing not far away from the destroyed area. "Did you find them?" Ron asked without looking at them. "We searched all over the city, but we did not find those 4 A-rank hunters who escaped earlier." One of the city guards stepped forward and said after hearing Ron. Ron can't help but sigh after hearing the city guard. Looks like those escape scrolls were of high grades that directly teleported them out of the city. Ron thought and closed his eyes for a moment. "Don't lower your guard and continue to patrol the city for now," Ron said to them after a moment. "Even though they did not find people of the Dark Guild, there is a chance they might be hiding somewhere in the city." Hearing Ron, all the guards left from there. Ron looked at the destroyed area one last time before flying away from there. After leaving from there, he went toward the west direction of the city. After 30 minutes, he reached at the location where members of the Dark Guild attacked. Unlike the location of the city plaza, where he stopped the impact of the explosion, a large area of the city was destroyed in the west direction. Ron talked with the city guards present there to ask about the situation. After confirming the situation on the west side, Ron went to the remaining 2 locations of the attack. In the next few hours, he visited both of the places to see the situation there. More than 15,000 deaths. Ron muttered with a sad look on his face after visiting all 4 locations of attacks. Apart from 15,000 deaths, there were many people who were severely injured. While Ron was thinking what he should do now, his bracelet suddenly vibrated. When he looked at it, he saw it was Damien who was calling him. Seeing Damien was calling him, a complicated expression appeared on his face, and he did not pick up the call for some time. But knowing he will have to inform them sooner or later, he finally accepted the call. Chapter 300. Still unaware about what happened in the city, Evan, Mark and others looked around to confirm there was no monster alive near them. Those A and A+ rank hunters wiped out the monsters, so quickly, Mark said while looking at the area which was filled with monsters' corpses. Sophia and the others didn't say anything and just nodded their heads. Since the monster tide is over, let's go back to the city. Now, I just want to take a good rest before deciding what to do next, Caleb said in a tired voice, since he was using his skills to stop the monster all this time. Let's divide the points before we return, Evan said, since he wasn't sure if he will meet with them again once he returned back to the city. Hearing Evan, an excited expression appeared on everyone's face. All of them were fighting restlessly all this time, so that they can collect as many merit points as possible. Now that it was time to see how many points they earned, they can't help but feel excited. Well, since my job wasn't to kill monsters, I don't have many points, Mark said and showed his merit points. On his bracelet screen, 9,870 points were visible. Considering his job was to attract the monsters, it wasn't surprising that his points were quite low. I am the same, Caleb said and showed his points. His points were even less than Mark, only 5,980. But since he was responsible to stop the monsters with his psychic element, no one was surprised by his low points. I have 80,754 points, David said, showing his bracelet. Since he was killing the monsters with Evan and Sophie, it was natural for him to have so many points. 93,127, Sophie said while showing her bracelet. After hearing Sophie, everyone looked at Evan. Seeing they were looking at him, Evan shrugged his shoulders and showed his points. 81,235. Sophie and others were surprised when they saw his points were even higher than David's. But remembering how he was killing monsters like a madman, they just sighed and said we're not able to say anything. You are a monster, you know, Sophie said to him while shaking her head. Evan just smiled and didn't say anything to them, but he wasn't finished yet. Suddenly Evan showed them another bracelet with 47,246 points showing on it. Aqua was also wearing a bracelet all this time, and they were the points that it collected. If not for the fact that instead of attacking on monsters, it was protecting Evan during the fight, it would have definitely collected more points. If Evan wanted, he could have hidden Aqua's bracelet and kept its points for himself, but he doesn't want to be a complete A** this time. Since Orca was also killing monsters that Mark attracted and Khaled was stooping, he decided to share these points with everyone. Besides, he still had points gathered by Asia and Necros that he still hasn't checked yet. Sophie and the others were shocked when Evan told them about Aqua's bracelet. They can't believe he even brought a bracelet for his summon monster. To think your professor even gave a bracelet for your summon monster, Mark said, not knowing what he should say. Evan just smiled after hearing him. No one knows what kind of reaction they would have shown if he told them he got 5 bracelets from Edward. The total points we collected are 318,212. If we divide the points equally among 5 people, we will get 63,642.4 each, David said after calculating the points. It is far more than I initially thought we will earn, Mark said after hearing how many points they will get. Evan and others also smiled after hearing David. Before the beginning of the tide, they thought they will be able to earn around 35 to 40,000 points each, but seeing they earned nearly double what they initially thought, all of them were very excited. Evan was the most excited among them. I still have to see the bracelet of Asia and Necros, Evan thought and tried his best not to laugh out loud. Even though he did not see how many points Elijah and Necros collected, he was sure that his total points will surpass 100k. I can't wait to see what I can buy with so many merit points, Evan thought to himself after they divided the points equally among themselves. After dividing the points, Sophie and the others took out their hoverboard ready to go back to the city. You are not going back? Sophie asked when she saw Evan was still standing without taking out his hoverboard. Of course, I am going back, Evan said, and jumped at the back of Aqua, but I am too tired to use the hoverboard. Seeing how Evan was laying at the back of Aqua with a relaxed expression, the eyes of his teammates can't help but twitch. They were also exhausted after fighting for so long, and wanted to go back to the city comfortably like him. Let's go, Evan said to Aqua while patting its back. Just as he patted its back, a layer of water appeared below Aqua's feet and started to move towards Naflium City. Orca was using its water control and was moving like it was skating on the ground. Seeing Evan was going away, Sophie and others also followed after him. Even though Aqua was a B+ rank monster, its agility was low when compared to Eclipse, who is specialized in speed. So Sophie and others were able to keep up with Aqua with the help of their B rank hoverboards. While going back, they saw many hunters, but did not encounter any monsters, because all of them were already killed by hunters. After 3 hours of traveling, Evan and others were finally able to see the city gate. I will finally able to take a proper rest now, Evan thought when he saw the city gate in front of him. This is the end of this video. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed and wish you wonderful rest of the day. The Silent Raptor's out.